if you have the ability to do something, you need to do it.
I don't know what I would do growing up without doing something dangerous every day.
Yeah, I had to find a way to make it work with the circumstances I had. Make the best of this or die. I'm supposed to be this link in the chain so that there can be another one after me. People are your friend when you're slow.
Yeah.
And then when you start becoming some sort of competition or get into that realm, they're not as nice. I got to the other side of the fence somehow.
All right, folks, we're here today with our first official guest, Mitchell Stapleton. How's it going, Mitchell?
Pretty good. This is cool. I mean, you've helped me so much, and now I feel like I can help you a little bit by being your first guest and getting this thing going. So.
Oh yeah, certainly, and we're glad to have you here today. And thanks for taking time out to come and visit. And I know you got a busy schedule. Seem like you're doing something all the time. And when I called you the other day, you were right in the middle of some kind of deal with Tony Furr. Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I should have picked up the phone when you called me because I could just put you on speakerphone.
Yeah, I know it. Tony's a great guy. He and I've got a lot of memories together. Did a lot of stuff together and raced hard. And he's a hard racer. Real good guy. So anyway, let's move along here, and we're going to ask you some questions, and feel free to answer them however you like. And that's kind of the way we're doing things. We kind of just shoot from the hip and hope for the best, you know. So the first question I got for you is, you know, when a lot of people ask me, like, well, how did your career evolve, or, you know, how you got to where you're at, and this, that, and the other. And as a racer, I can go back and say, well, I had started on go-karts and moved my way up to street stocks and go-karts and late models, whatever. You know, worked my way up to get to the level I was at. But for you, I think it's different. You know, it's I think people wonder or just tell us a little bit about your journey. You know, how you got here from, you know, little kid to now, and what brought you into North Carolina, basically.
Okay. Well, when I was a little kid, I was into NASCAR because my dad was. He'd take me to Michigan twice a year because he had been going to a couple races a year since before I was born.
Right.
But I was never allowed to have a go-kart or race or do anything remotely dangerous, like no go-kart, no dirt bike, no BB gun, no paintballs, no slingshot, nothing.
Right.
I had RC cars. That was like my thing because that's all I could really tinker with. And it was terrible to go to the racetrack at least twice a year and get all amped up about this stuff, be playing with die casts all the time.
Right.
And then at the same time, you're thinking, I could never do that.
Yeah.
That sucked.
I bet, man. I don't know what I would do. I'm sitting there thinking about what you just said. I don't know what I would do growing up without doing something dangerous every day. You know, I was into something every day, and couldn't imagine that. But that probably is kind of motivated you, probably, though, didn't it? I mean, as far as
it does now, yeah. And I mean, it took me. My path is probably a lot more similar to the guys like you in a different way because it wasn't just there for me right away. And I remember there was one time, I don't know, I was like 6 or 7 or something, and we talked about going to. I grew up in Pittsburgh, like 20 miles north of Pittsburgh or something, a small town, and we were going to go to what was Beaver Run, now it's Pit Race, to go look at the kids' go-kart stuff and maybe talk about me doing it. And I remember going there and I got like, you know, when you're a kid, you got like fragments of memories. I got one fragment of walking into this tent where they had the cars on a lifts and stuff, and my dad was talking to some other kid's dad.
What was it, a race? Actually, go-kart race?
Yeah.
Going on? Okay.
Yeah, it was like with little shifter cart things. And this kid comes out, he's about my age, you know, he's wearing a fire suit and stuff. And he looked at me like, what are you doing here? And I just thought in that moment, like, this kid has no idea how lucky he is.
Right.
I could stand here and I look at this cart and I'd give anything to hop on this thing and go drive it right now.
Right.
And he does this probably every day and doesn't even think anything about it.
Right.
And I remember standing there and the adult class was out and somebody spun out. And then my mom was like, nope, too fast. Nope. She had like a big thing. I'm like, kids don't go that fast. Like, it's not, you know, but that was it. That was, I don't know why. It's not like my dad could have got me a go-kart. It was, maybe he didn't want to take the time to do it. Either one of them, too dangerous, for whatever it was. I don't know. They came up with every excuse in the book why I couldn't do that. They'd say, oh, you're going to grow up and be too big to fit in a car anyway. So, which Now that's almost true.
Right, it is. I've sat in your car, so I know that's about true.
Yeah, almost. But I've wedged myself in there because even then I'd be like, well, Michael Waltrip's 6'5".
Right.
He fits in there, so why can't I?
Right.
But no, it didn't matter. So I had to distract myself with other things, like hockey. I always liked hockey growing up, but I had to avoid NASCAR for a long time because it got too aggravating for me to pay attention to it, knowing that I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to just get it out of my system. It was like too depressing. And
so every time you'd watch a race or something, you always it made you want to become a driver or race in NASCAR or whatever. It's kind of like a dream you had, or
yeah. And we'd go to go-kart places, and I was always good at it. Like I understood.
Right.
It just came to me. Like I remember going to the local go-kart place, and they had a little kiddie track. It was basically just a circle.
Right.
And on the bottom half of it, they had white paint, and they throw chalk on it, so you would slide.
Right.
And all the kids are just like dumb. They just drive down there and
right.
slides all over the place. Well, I remember, and nobody told me this, I remember driving the thing and looking at it, and I'm like, oh, I can run the smallest line if I keep half of my right front tire off the paint,
right,
and it doesn't slide.
Yeah.
So I could do that, and I win every time because all the other kids are just sliding around.
Right. Well, that's good thinking back then. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know why I thought of that. I just noticed it because my dad would let me drive the lawnmower sometimes, and when the grass was wet, you turn it, we would go like this.
Right. Yeah.
And that was. He let me drive the lawnmower by myself once, and I wore a circle in the grass, and then he never let me do it again.
Right. The donut.
You're gonna kill the grass.
Right. Well, you might have thought that was getting a little dangerous too when you started doing that.
Yeah. You never know. Lawnmowers, they go like 4 miles an hour.
Right. So what happened after that? I mean, so you grew up as a kid then, and then what was your road that took off, or out of Pittsburgh, or wherever you was from there?
My parents got divorced when I was in 9th grade. And then after that, there was a lot less focus on what I was doing. And that was at the same time I got my learner's permit, so I started driving a real car. And that's when it all kind of went back into real cars, because you know what happens the first time you pull up at a red light with somebody else and you both floor it at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
You find out which one's faster.
A race will break out every time on that situation for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I technically could say I started by street racing.
Right.
A Suburban. My dad's Suburban. He made me drive it. And I was just like, I want to find out what's faster.
And I bet you thought that thing was fast too, and it could outrun everybody out there, probably, didn't you?
No, I wasn't that delusional, but I wanted to know what it was faster than.
Or what would make it faster anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like messing with stuff like that. And I wasn't allowed to go to the drag strip or anything either.
Really?
Nope. I wasn't allowed to buy my own car.
Man.
Like, I wanted to go, I'd gotten cutting grass for some of the neighbors, and like spreading mulch and stuff like that. And I was like, it was probably 16, 17 at the time, where I could drive.
Right.
I said, if I save up money, can I go get my own car? Like back then you could get a 80s or 90s Camaro for like $4,000 that you could drive it and do donuts with it and stuff. And my dad's like, no, you can't do that. It's too dangerous. You have to drive this.
That really makes your story even more interesting to me because of what you're saying. I mean, that's really held you back a lot of what you really wanted to do. And you knew what you wanted to do, you just couldn't do it, you know? Mm-hmm. Or it's what it sounds like, you know? Yeah.
I had to find a way to make it work with the circumstances I had, and which is strange because when I graduated high school, my dad bought a 2013 Escalade to use for work because he always had Suburbans for his work stuff. And he's like, this is what you're going to drive. And I chose to commute to college so I could take my classes on 3 days so I could have more time to mess with my car. Because by then I did get a 72 Monte Carlo. Right towards the end of high school, I think, because my dad was gone a lot and I kept messing up the normal car I was driving, I think. And I don't know why, but he let me get that and it kept me busy.
Well, he's probably thinking that's a ways from the hot rod type of car back in the end, back in those days. But I remember those 72s. They made great race cars too.
Yeah, that's why I wanted one, because I thought I wanted a Chevelle, but Chevelles were expensive. Right. And then I'd go look and say, oh, they used to use these Monte Carlos in NASCAR, and they're a lot cheaper than a Chevelle, even though they're like 90% the same thing. Yeah. And I kept sending him like just total shit boxes on Craigslist, thinking that, I want to put something together.
Right.
He was like, that's a piece of junk. I'm like, well, okay. After a while, him declining what I was sending him, I was like, I had this one black Monte Carlo say this thing was awesome looking, had shiny paint, had a 502 from a boat in it.
Right.
And I'm like, fine. How about this one? And he's like, yeah, that one's nice. You should call that guy. And I'm like, really? Okay, I'll call that guy.
502 in it too. That's what you were wanting, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm like, this thing got a huge engine in it. Then we went up there. It was in Erie, Pennsylvania. And he test drove it. And I got really lucky because it had a 273 rear end in it.
Right.
And when my dad drove it, it was slow.
Yep.
But I knew that it was because of the gear.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So did you change gears in it?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
411 or something like that? Or
373.
373, yep.
Yep. And I adjusted the shifter cable because it couldn't even use first gear in the Turbo 400.
Oh, yeah.
So when you could actually get it into first gear and use the 373s, the thing was pretty fast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, way faster than anything I had access to at that point.
That's funny you're already thinking that way. Back then, you think, man, if I just get this car, it's got the big motor in it, but it's got higher gears in it, he won't know the difference in it, and all that stuff. So you had to kind of manipulate your way through that, to get what you wanted, I'm sure,
I did a lot of that, just deception to get to that point,
All right, so we got your Monte Carlo and your 502 and all this stuff. So what happened next on that deal?
My Monte Carlo was always broken, but I was always working on it with friends that I'd make. I go to the drag strip and go to Test and Tune by myself to try to meet people who had similar cars to mine that were faster than mine so that I could say, well, hey, how did you do this? Because every time I seemed like I tried to work on something with my friends, we'd just mess it up.
Right.
Like, I put a camshaft in that 502 with help one of my friends. Like, I went to high school with him. Didn't talk to him in school. He was like one of the Vote Tech kids. He's the kind of kid who would be like bouncing his car off the rev limiter in the parking lot, walking to first period holding a rod or something. That wasn't who I was friends with in high school. But afterwards, like, Bill Swaney. Bill Swaney knows how to work on cars. Because I saw him doing donuts in a parking lot or something one day, and in his Mustang. I wanted to get to know this guy.
Test and Tune in the parking lot.
Yeah. He's the one who I was driving that Escalade, and I had went and got it, flash tuned and put headers on it and stuff, thinking my dad wouldn't notice, and he never did because he just didn't pay attention.
Right.
And even though he told me not to do that too, because it would void the warranty, and I didn't listen. But that's part of being 18.
Right.
And my friend rides in this thing, and he's like, "This is pretty fast. You take this thing down to Keystone, you probably get a 100-mile-an-hour club sticker."
Right.
And I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, "You get that if you trap 100 miles an hour." I'm like, "What's trap?" It's like, that's how fast you are going at the end of the track.
Right.
I didn't know anything about any of that.
Right. So it took away the times and all that, just what your mile per hour was at that point.
They give you a cool sticker. And I'm like, we'll go see that. So I go Test and Tune with him, and he rides with me. He's like, pull the beams here and do that. And I floored it. And, you pull around to the little shack and get your time slip. And I thought it was going to say 100 on it. I wanted that so bad. I was like, I want that damn sticker.
You thought it was going to be easy to run 100.
Yeah. It was like 97.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
time to go back to work.
I'm ruined.
Yep.
Ruined. That was in 2015.
Right.
When I was doing that. And I ended up taking the seats out, and because I had a little garage that was not at the house that I could work on my Monte Carlo at. It was one of my dad's friends. He let me use it for cutting his grass or fixing his garage door, and it popped off the track or whatever. I did whatever for him. So I could go mess with stuff there without my dad knowing about it. And I'd go there, I'd take all the seats out, and I'd switch it over to these 17-inch Tahoe wheels that I got from a junkyard. I spray painted them black.
And meanwhile, he doesn't know any of this is going on.
No.
Right.
No idea.
You got all your seats out of your car, and you got some black, bigger tires and wheels on it.
Yeah. And me and Bill, we drive around to different tire shops and take their tires that they throw out back. Found some 265 17s that would fit on those wheels that were almost bald.
Right.
And I blow them up to 58 PSI, so they're like rocks, but you get the rolling resistance down.
Right.
So I go do all that, go to Test and Tune, put E85 in it, and then come back 2 a.m, put all the seats back in, put the stock wheels back on, wipe the numbers off the windshield, and go home.
Put your seats back in it.
Yeah.
That's funny. I just can picture your dad catching you doing that, riding around those seats, got the big wheels on the back of it. And did you ever think you were going to get caught or he was going to catch you doing it or?
No. Yeah. He's totally off in his own world. Like he just didn't.
That's pretty funny. Meanwhile, you're out racing and running, trying to get your 100-mile-per-hour sticker.
Yeah.
In your car.
Yeah, I think I got it to like 99.6.
You're kidding me. You never got it? Never got your sticker? Or?
Not with that configuration. But then when it really got interesting is through some of the people I met at the drag strip. I wanted to put a cam in it over that winter from 15 to 16 because I'm like, well, then I know I'll get it because I just did a torque converter in it.
You knew more engine, more motor it was definitely going to be.
Yeah.
That'd get you up there, right?
Yeah, but I didn't want to do the cam wrong because like me and my friend tried to put a cam in that 502.
Right.
We did everything wrong. We put a solid roller in it.
Right.
We, you fire it up and the thing runs good for like 3 seconds and then suddenly it's like not even thumping anymore. We're like, why is this thing? It doesn't. You want the cam to do the do the chop, and it wasn't.
Did so knock all the globes off of it.
We take the valve cover off and pull the rockers off. All the push rods are like shaped like bananas.
Right.
Like it's just
bent all your push rods and rocker arms probably hanging off and everything else. Yeah,
because all they say was check the sweep, make sure the sweep is right on the tip of the valve. So that's what we did.
Right.
Nobody said you can't use those push rods again.
Right.
Even if the sweep is right.
Right.
So we figured out all this stuff as a process of put this in, mess it up, take it back out and fix it.
Did you have hydraulic lifters in, or were they solid lifters?
Solid.
Okay.
I didn't even know what a hydraulic lifter was.
Right. That's probably what came out of it, though, wasn't it?
It had hydraulic flat tap. It
okay.
It was a boat motor.
Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't know what it was. Somebody told me, they said, if you put a solid roller cam in that thing, it'll make 100 more horsepower.
So there's a roller cam you put in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. So you had the roller lifters and all that stuff on it. Yeah. I got you.
So I called the cam place and said, I got a 502. I want a solid lifter cam.
Right.
I could have been speaking German. Like I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
But I got all the stuff and they're like, you'll have to set the lash. It's about the same as a cam card.
Yeah.
The thickness about 30 thousandths, whatever. So what do? You putting your rockers on, and you stick the cam card in there, and you putting the rockers on, and you think you're doing something.
Right.
Then you find out that doesn't work. You need feeler gauges.
Yeah.
What's that?
And did you run through the rockers like on your top dead center and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So you knew to do that part of it, right?
I figured that out along the line.
Yeah.
I made myself like a little chart that I could,
right.
Write the lash down and started to get it more ironed out towards the end of that year.
Right.
This was still in 15, and eventually got it figured out, and the had a 4-speed in it and stuff, and the thing made 575 at the wheels.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and then it blew up.
Right. That's what people don't realize when you go to put a cam in or something, and then you do a little bit of something. You got to keep going because stuff starts breaking, and you start finding your weak links, I guess you'd say, on your engine stuff. So
yeah.
So you run? How fast you run with that one?
I never made it to the drag strip with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It broke that quick?
That's the irony of it, yeah.
Oh, right. So you get it all done, and then what happens?
Over that winter, it spun a bearing. So I had some other guy I know put the engine together and do the lash and everything instead of me because I thought, somebody else will do it right.
Right.
I messed it up.
Right.
And then that spring rolls around, I get the engine back, and I got the valve covers off, and I'm looking at it, and he didn't have because I had those adjustable guides, so you could place the push rod where you wanted it, because I didn't have shaft rockers or anything, I couldn't afford that.
Right.
So you had to, do all that perfectly, and it was kind of hokey, but it worked. I figured out by the end how I could drive the thing and check the lash, and it stayed the same.
Right.
Because for a while there, it was like I drive it, valve covers come off, have to reset everything, because it always moved.
Yeah, and that goes back to the top dead center thing too. If you don't get them just right, you go back around, check them again. They're different every time. So
yeah, it took forever.
Yeah,
and I finally had that figured out. But, and this is a similar parallel to what we get to with the racing stuff, is I thought, this guy knows more than me. This looks weird to me, but I'm gonna run it like this anyway because
he's supposed to know what he's doing.
He's the pro.
Right,
I trust it.
Yeah.
Well, I put it in, drove it halfway to the drag strip. Dropped a valve.
Oh man!
Chunked the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. On that valve tip where the rocker was just off the tip a little bit.
Yep.
And I thought I should have gone through it myself.
Right.
I didn't trust myself enough.
Yep.
Then.
I've done a lot of stuff like that on my race cars over the years, where you go to somebody you think that's knows what they're doing basically, and they probably do, but it never ends up the way you want it to. And then you're like, man, if I was gonna mess it up, I could have done it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
On the way.
Yeah, that was, and then that thing that motor was blown up. But by then I had already gone farther down the road with the Escalade because the Monte Carlo was always broken. I go to test and tune with my friends with the Escalade just because it was all I had to participate with.
Right.
And so at the end of 2015, I met this guy who had a turbo Silverado and it had a cam. And I wanted to learn how to do a cam from somebody who would put a cam in theirs and had it not blow up.
Because that's still in the back of your mind. You wanted to figure it out,
I wanted to do it, but if I was going to take apart my dad's Escalade, that at the time was only 2 years old. It still had a warranty. It had like 40,000 miles. Like, I cannot mess this up or I am dead.
Especially without him knowing about it.
Yeah. If I'm going to do it, it has to be perfect. It has to be right. And he will find out about it once it's done. But it has to be right. Because I figured if it was still reliable transportation, what does it matter if I did it or didn't do it? It's, I'm the warranty if I can do this right. So, this guy, he said, I'm going to do a cam in my truck and then I'm done with this. I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, let me know. I'll help you because I want to learn how to do that to mine. And just some guy, he's probably like 40 something. Didn't know him. And, you've good friends on Facebook and that stuff. And a couple months go by and he said, hey, I still want to do a cam in my truck, but I don't want to do it in my driveway when it's cold. Any chance you got space in your garage to do it there? And I'm like, yeah, it'd be even better because then you're in my zone. I can be more involved. So we did that. I learned how to do that stuff, helping him with his truck. And that was when there was a big recall on the CTSVs and ZL1 Camaros and their superchargers at that time. And he said he knew a guy who had some of them. So instead of just doing a cam, I got a supercharger too. Because I've been doing side work on other people's cars at this point.
So now you're going to put a supercharger on there with it, which is a pretty cool deal,
Yeah. Well, without telling my dad.
That's the funny part about this whole story is that your dad knows nothing about none of this,
No, he's just now living his life, playing golf, whatever he's doing. He doesn't ask me what I'm doing, what I'm working on. Nothing.
Just be safe is what he's telling you, and you're doing everything you can not to be.
Yeah, well, as long as I didn't come back like smelling weird or getting. I got a lot of tickets in high school, but I stopped doing that because I realized if I lost my license, my fun was over. I got pulled over a lot.
And how old were you then when you're starting on the Escalade? How old were you then?
18, 19.
So just out of high school then, or still.
Yeah, I was 19 because 2016 I turned 20, but I did all this in like March of 16. So he went on a business trip to like France or something. He's gonna be gone for a week, and I'm like, this is my shot. I had the stuff probably for a month and a half before that, and I hid it all at my mom's house because then he'd never find it.
Did you ever think that when he got in it, he would know that it had a supercharger on it, or was it running better than what it normally did, or what was going to be your explanation for all that? I mean,
I was banking on the fact that if I could do it and do it right, then it was cooler than what it was before, and he wouldn't kill me. It just got more power. You say, I guess it just feels better today or something. You're going to make up some kind of excuse then, right? No, I think if he asked me, I'd tell him. But I just wanted to delay that finding out process as long as possible. Like once it's already proven to work correctly, then I don't think it matters. Because he just doesn't want it to turn into a headache. So, pulled it in, locked the doors, and pulled the heads off. And then we're like, well, you got to change the cam gear tensioner. Will sometimes break off on those things. So while you're in there, it'd be good to change that. Well, to change it, you got to take the oil pan off. So like, we're already this far. Let's just take the dang engine out. So we got this engine hanging off a chain. Escalade's 3 years old, still has a warranty. And I'm like, if my dad just magically opened this door right now, I don't know what would happen. But
that's funny.
Yeah.
So you got the motor around this hanging up in there, and you're getting ready to pull the oil pan off now.
Yeah. So I had some of those guys in there that I met at the racetrack come help me for that because I'm like, I do not want to mess this up.
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger, doesn't it? It keeps growing.
But I trusted that they knew what they were doing because they had their own cars that had those modifications done already. That I could see the proof that they were competent. Yeah, we got it in there and got it tuned, and the thing was just awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool.
So you got back together and put it back in the Escalade and then fired it up and everything was working good like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
deal.
Took it to the track for the first time a few weeks later, and
Did he know then that you were taking it to the track, or did he know anything about the supercharger at that point?
no,
Right.
I don't think he found out until May,
Right.
and I put it on in March.
That's pretty funny to do that. And then here's your dad come back out, from being out of town, and he's got a supercharger on his Escalade, and his son's drag racing and are running down at the local drag strip, and he doesn't know anything about it.
No,
Is that right?
He didn't know. It was June, and he found out about it because I went to this, like flashlight drag thing on an airport where you would drag race on a runway,
Right.
about an hour from where I lived, and I don't know, when I beat some Corvette or something, because
Right.
all these higher powered cars, they would spin, but this Escalade was all wheel drive, so I'd kill them out of the hole, and then they'd run me down, but sometimes they couldn't catch me.
Right.
And I don't know, like videos went up on Facebook, and people just were at the event, and then he found, somebody sent it to him and was like, "Isn't this your kid?" Like,
right.
And then then he figured it out, and he wasn't mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
that's pretty hilarious. And then you told him about the supercharger and all that stuff on there.
That's when he found it. Yeah,
Yeah.
He knew the supercharger was on it. You could hear it.
Right.
Like, it was loud.
That's pretty funny, I think.
I had signed up for Hot Rod Drag Week that same year prior to that under a different name. The same guy who had the Silverado who helped me with all this stuff, his name was George Messer. So I gave him cash so he could use his card and sign up for the thing back in March.
Right.
And it was like a week. And I'm like, whatever. I'll tell him I'm going to stay at my mom's house or something.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because my friends were doing it, and they were like, well, yeah, you should do this too. It'd be fun. So I had no intentions of going there to, like, do something. I was just hanging out. And to be eligible for the rules, you had to have a drag slick or drag radial, drag compound tire on every driven wheel, which meant I had to buy 4 drag slicks for this Escalade. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. I don't even think it even needs this.
Right.
But to meet the rules, it had to. Well, those Hoosier bias ply slicks were so much lighter than the other wheels that it made it faster.
Right.
And I go there, and the thing's running like 1180s.
Right.
At 116 miles an hour.
Right.
And I slept in the back of it all week. Like, I'd just go take a shower in my friend's hotel room, blow up my air mattress, and go to sleep. And it ended up going all over Instagram and all this stuff. And I was just like, by the end of the week, I thought I had seen other people there who had like their builds or whatever, and they had sponsored parts and this and that and the other thing. And I just thought, well, maybe I could, like, do something like that. And that would help me make this thing faster with less money before I graduate college and have to go get a real job, and then the world sucks.
Right.
Because I thought if I could get my fun car out of the way before I had any responsibilities, that I'd be in the clear. Because like, I'm going to graduate college, I'm going to get some terrible job, and I'm not going to make any money because my grades are bad, and I'm going to hate my life.
Right.
So I just pushed all that off, and I was just like, not doing what people wanted me to do.
Yeah.
It's just race car.
Which was the Escalade at that time.
Uh-huh.
And when you put so you had slicks all the way around it?
Yeah.
What did everybody say about that? It kind of did it look funny or look weird or anything, or just pretty cool?
It looked a little funny. They were like 28 inches tall, so it kind of looked like skateboard wheels on the thing, but it wasn't terrible. Because I lowered it, but it was just like, it was fun. It was so much fun to drive that thing. Man.
Yeah, and to take what that's all you had, so you had to make something out of it. So
yeah, it was weird because you see this 19-year-old kid running around in a 3-year-old Escalade. You're like, oh, he must be some like rich kid or whatever. But then I'm running around on spray painted, crusty junkyard wheels and sleeping in the back, like
with Hoosier tires all the way around.
Yeah, I put them on. I got those little luggage racks that goes in the hitch, so I put the slicks on the back on this rack and drive around with my crappy junkyard wheels
and change them.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty impressive, really. Just that story alone right there, what you're telling us. And then it hadn't even got started yet, had it?
No.
Years?
It was all Instagram. I had like, I don't know, 1,500 followers on Instagram, whatever like a normal kid would have at that point.
And you weren't thinking about actually making money off Instagram and nothing. You were just filming it and it was having a good time, and people were watching, and you're racing and putting 4 tires all the way around your Escalade and superchargers on and all that. That's just living life right there, isn't it? I mean, coming up as a kid, just having fun, you know?
Yeah. That's my main goal, was to go to the mall parking lot and be the fastest kid in there.
Right.
It's probably the same way people did it back in the day. So you meet at a spot and you all sit around and bullshit, and then you go.
Would you have your tires on then, or you had your regular street tires on it?
The regular ones. I didn't have the slicks until drag week.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Because I had to scrape together $700 to go get the tires.
Right.
So
you had the fastest car on the block then?
Yeah.
Out of everybody in your school?
Yeah. I made an ice tank for it. It was you ever see the show Street Outlaws?
Yeah.
You know, Jeff Lutz, the yellow 57? His son was one of those people that was helping me with stuff.
Really?
I met him through the turbo truck guy, George. And his shop was 15 minutes away.
Man, that's pretty interesting there. You know, small world.
Yeah.
How you meet people like that, you know?
He's how I learned to weld. He was over there one day, and he said he was working on some aluminum thing. He said, "You ever TIG welded before?" I'm like, "No, I never welded anything before."
Yeah.
He said, "You want to try it?" "Yeah, I'll try it." He said, "Here, take this helmet and watch me lay a bead."
Right.
So I did, and I watched him, and he's like, "Okay, now you do it." And he watched me, and he's like, "Wait till the puddle starts." And he's like, "Okay, now put the rod in and move."
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay, you know, I could just do it."
Right.
And then he said, "Dude, you need to go buy a welder." And I'm like, "Why?" He said, "People don't just do that."
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, I'll get a welder. I want to make something.
Right.
He's like, "Well, let's make an ice tank for your Escalade, so you can put ice cubes."
Right.
And then like super cool the supercharger.
Yeah.
So when I had that in there, if somebody with a hopped up truck or whatever wanted to race me and say, "Okay, come meet me at McDonald's in the small parking lot," I'd show up an hour early with like gallon bags, and I'd go into McDonald's or raid their ice machine,
right,
dump it in my tank, and I'd jump the fuse to like cycle the ice through it.
Right.
And I'd just like, there was like frost on my supercharger lid by the time this guy got here. And then I'd go there and I'd look at my little monitor. My intake air temperature is like 37 degrees.
Right.
Which, that's a ton of power
to
pick up doing that.
Especially a hot day, you know?
Yeah.
Man.
So like we'd go out there, go out on the highway and run, and I'd just stomp these people. Because the thing probably made 50 more horsepower with the super cold air.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never told anybody that I was doing that, but I always had some kind of trick up my sleeve.
Right. Okay, so now you're racing pretty much full time with your Escalade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beating people on the weekends and running your cool box and your ice box and all that stuff in it. And so where'd you go from there? I mean, what was the...
Well, when I went to drag week, there was a guy there who had a twin turbo Silverado that was 4-wheel drive, and he was running 10s and I was running 11s. And I thought,
now was yours was 4-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Not just all-wheel drive, but 4-wheel drive.
It was all-wheel drive. I couldn't select it. It was like the automatic transfer case thing. But yeah, I thought that's what I want to do next. I want to do that. But how am I going to afford to get turbos and all this stuff?
And meanwhile, Dad still doesn't know that it's gotten to the point it's at right now, right?
He knows about drag week now.
Okay.
Yeah, he figured that out in like June. Drag week wasn't until September.
Right.
He wasn't mad or anything. I think he was more impressed that I had pulled that off, because I think up until that point he thought I was dumb.
Right.
Like, or that I was, probably did, because my grades were always bad. I was always getting in trouble. I was kind of like the screw up kid. At least that's how I felt.
Right. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I felt the same way growing up.
I was always a screw up kid. Always doing something I wasn't supposed to do. Always wanted to be doing something that I wasn't allowed to do.
Yep.
I never really messed anything up, but I've always felt restricted.
Right. Well, so then what? You went to drag week, and then
that started moving, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I can meet some people and try to see about making a turbo kit for this thing, because I can TIG weld, I can make the pipes myself. I know I can learn how to do that.
So did you end up getting your own welder and stuff?
Yeah.
So you were making all your ice box and all that stuff out of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I got my own welder, and there's my journey of learning how to TIG weld is very parallel to that of driving a race car, because it's like it with Jeff Jr.'s welder. When he set it up, I could hop on there. I welded my whole tank together while he was on the phone with somebody, and he comes back and he's like, "You're done already?" Like, yeah. It didn't leak or anything. But then I get my own welder in my own shop with nobody there.
Right.
And I'm trying to weld something, it's popping and spitting, and I'm like, what happened? Did I forget how to do this? And then I'm like, no, the settings on the welder are wrong. And half the battle is making the thing, tuning it for the application that you're using it for.
Right.
And it's the same.
And he didn't tell you that right off the bat, didn't he? He just taught you how to weld and didn't tell you all the settings that it was on and stuff.
Yeah, he didn't really. I mean, I knew like the difference between AC for aluminum, DC for steel, but I didn't understand really how many amps you needed or what your argon flow needed to be.
Yeah.
And it was bad. And then I just go on YouTube. It's like anybody today can learn anything they want to through YouTube. And I found this guy welding tips and tricks.
Right.
And I started watching his stuff and then messing with the AC balance and aluminum and for the cleaning action and all that stuff. And I kind of got it figured out. But it's the same thing. You get into a race car that's not right. I mean, you could get into a race car that sucks, and you're going to suck because the car's not doing its job right. Yep. It's like
exactly.
The whole thing has to be right.
We done that a couple weeks ago at Tri-County. We missed it a little bit and had our left front shock had broke. And I don't care who you are, you're not going to run good like that. You know, it's bouncing around and all this stuff. But that's exactly right. And welding, I know what you mean by welding too, because I've went through that before too. When you think, man, I got this thing figured out. You know how to weld. You start welding, and it just looks like you never welded before. You know.
Yeah.
And so I know exactly what you're talking about there.
Yeah. Probably the biggest problem I had was my argon tank ran out. I didn't notice it. So I'm just like struggling through sticking this thing together. It just looks terrible. And then I look at my thing and it's out. I go get another one, hook it back up, and then it's good again. I'm like,
it don't last long though, does it?
No.
No. It seems like you can MIG weld for days and on your gas for that, but you go TIG welding and it just burns right through it quick. Seems like, you know.
Yeah.
Or for me it does.
I never MIG welded anything until 2024.
Right.
I never learned how to do it, never had one.
So you started TIG welding first?
Yeah, straight to aluminum and then to stainless steel.
Yeah.
My first fab project was making my own headers.
Yeah. That's a project right there. How'd that work out?
Really good.
Did it really?
It took me 2 months, but...
So you buy the bins and then cut them and turn them and all that? Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I made a jig for my turbos, and this was 2017 by then. Yep. I made a jig to hang them and spent 2 days making sure they were all within 1/8 of an inch, measured in 3 different places, and because I wanted it to be symmetrical.
Right.
And it'd take me like 8 hours to make one tube that was this long.
Right.
But it was as perfect as I could get it.
Right.
And that was my standards. I don't care how long it takes me. The fit up's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to do all the prep work that I can, because if I don't know how to make the bead perfectly, that's fine. I'll do the best I can. But I can't even try to make a good bead if there's gaps or I'm not back purged right, or like the actual fit up of the pipe itself is the foundation. So I filed everything by hand, and I use a little bandsaw from Home Depot, like the tiny little Ryobi thing. It sucked. I got a different blade for it, but even then you still have to like chew on it.
Right.
It was,
and that's all going on to the Escalade still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had turbos for it by then. I kept cleaning cars.
So it's supercharged now with new pipes, new headers on it, a cold ice box on it, 4s, Hoosier tires around it.
It was only supercharged for not even a year. Yeah, I took it apart in March of 2017 is when I took it apart and started doing the turbos.
Right. Because
I was like, I'm going to do this like now.
So you put one turbo or two of them on it? Okay. Did it run better?
Eventually, yeah. That process took me 2 years to build that thing and get it back up. Because
was there any time your dad saying, "Man, when can I get my Escalade back?"
No. After
he finally just said, "Just take it and run with it," or
yeah, he never drove it before I did the supercharger. That's why I was like, I can do this and get away with it, because he doesn't use this thing anyway.
Right. Oh, I got you.
I had been driving it for a year and a half by that point, and I think he used it once.
Right.
So I thought, well, it's not critical anymore.
Right.
And then when he found out that I did that to it, he just went and bought another car.
Right. So screw it. He just out of there, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he was finally glad that I showed some aptitude at doing something.
Right.
Or like I had something to work for.
Right.
Which I did. Like learning how to work on cars in the shop gave me the canvas to build a work ethic.
Right.
Because I never had anything I ever wanted to dig for, I wasn't allowed to have.
Right.
So I just never, I never forged that thing. Like, in school, I'd do whatever the bare minimum was to not get in trouble.
Yeah.
I never was allowed to just go all in on something.
Right.
And then when I had my own little garage and I could do stuff and
had the freedom.
Yeah. I want to go faster. And that was just, I was all in at that point. I learned how to be more social too.
Right.
Because I either have to make friends or I have to make more money to then pay somebody to do all this work to my car. And the labor cost sometimes cost more than the parts. Mm-hmm. So I could go faster if I could do it myself.
Right.
That was my...
Especially headers and stuff like that. Don't tell them what they would have cost.
Yeah, I never would have been able to afford any of that. But...
So you were making the best of the situation you had. Making just getting all you could out of it,
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, I never really said this before, but I always felt bad about it internally because it's like relative is everything.
Yeah.
At that time, like other people, I knew some kids that had like really nice cars. Their parents bought them and stuff, and they never did anything to them. They just had a nice car, or like a car that a kid would want. Like no 19-year-old is going to say, "Yeah, Dad, I want an Escalade ESV to go hot rod around in." Yeah, it's like no. Like I'd say if he said, "Yeah, what kind of car do you want to buy you anything?" I would have been like, "I want like a Camaro or something," obviously. But I didn't have that.
Right.
But I still felt like I had advantages that other kids my age didn't, and I felt like almost guilty for it in a way. So I knew I had to, at least in my mind, I'm like, I have to take this to the absolute maximum. Like there is no, I will take none of this for granted. I got to make the most of it.
Right.
And I felt bad about that for a long time, pretty much until I get into NASCAR world here and I see like, man, I got all jacked up about that for nothing. Kids out here paying millions of dollars for their kids to go play with cars and stuff. Like my dad wouldn't even buy me a set of rods.
Right.
He'd get me a welder for $600 for Christmas.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't get me the parts.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He'd give me like the tool to go make the money myself, or like here's the rod but not the fish.
Right.
That was his.
Right. Teach you how to fish and you're good,
Yeah. He'd give me the rod. He didn't show me how to fish because he didn't know.
Right.
But he's like,
he probably didn't know which way you were going anyway.
No, he didn't know how to do any of that stuff.
Yep.
I didn't grow up with a dad or a grandpa that could teach me any of that.
Right.
That's not what he did.
Well, it's pretty awesome from where you started to now, where you're talking about being today, as far as the Escalade and stuff. I mean, that's pretty cool story, to go when you don't have anything and then turn around now you're TIG welding your own headers up, and which is probably one of the hardest things to do, as far as fabricating goes, is building headers. I mean, it's definitely one of the toughest things that not a lot of fabricators want to do, because it is so hard. So that's pretty neat. And how old are you then at that point?
That was 21 when I made those headers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're 21, got your headers made. Now what was your next move after that?
I needed an engine. I needed a transmission.
Well, what happened to the motor?
Nothing. It was fine. I just needed a better one so I could put more boost on it.
Right.
Because I was like, I want to have this thing be 1,000 horsepower and run 10-second quarter mile.
Right.
But then the other people in that local car community, or like the older ones, were like you're never going to be able to do that. You're an idiot. Like, what do you know about any of this stuff?
Right.
And I was like,
got the only Escalade out there running like that.
And I'm like, okay, yeah.
All the cool stuff on it,
Like, well, how about I'll make it 2,000 horsepower and go run 9s instead?
Right.
So that was my thing. I'm like, I'm just going to shove it down your throat.
Yeah.
You think I'm dumb?
Right.
Wait. Took me longer.
Right.
But when I came out and did that, I did exactly what I said it was going to do.
Right.
And 2016, I went to PRI with my air mattress in that Escalade, and I slept in the back of it.
Right.
It got down to like 14 degrees that first night. It froze my ass off. I barely slept.
It's always cold up there that time of year, too.
It was terrible. I didn't really plan for that, but I'm like, and the stupid thing is I never asked my dad if he would pay for a hotel room.
Right.
That just wasn't in my mind. I didn't ask him because in my mind, I didn't need to. I was like, I could just sleep back here.
Right.
But I don't, and I think about that now. I'm like, why didn't I ask him?
Yeah.
Because you probably would have done it.
Right.
But I ended up meeting this guy. His name's Randy, and he did like social media stuff for some of those street outlaw dudes, and he knew that I wasn't old enough to drink yet, and then I was there with a car. So he called me at like, I don't know, 2 a.m. The next day, he's like, you're not sleeping out there again. Like, put your air mattress on my hotel room floor. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. But I didn't know where he was. It was like midnight or something. I went and took a shower with the closest pilot to downtown Indy, just thinking that I'm just going to assume that he's not going to answer and I'm going to end up sleeping in there again. Because I just wasn't banking on anybody.
Right.
I always got my backup plan. And then he calls me and said, hey, can you pick me and some guys up at this strip club and at like 2:30. Like, yeah, I can give you a ride back. And then I said, yeah, then we'll get back and you can bring your air mattress up to my hotel room.
Right.
Like, okay. So he gives me the address and I drive up there and there's like 9 guys that start piling into this thing. And one of them worked for Dart, the cylinder heads and blocks. Another guy was Kamikaze Chris from Street Outlaws. You know, the guy with the El Camino?
Right.
Yeah, he was there. And they thought I was an Uber driver because Randy didn't tell them that he called one of his friends. He said, I'm going to call an Uber.
Right.
And I pull up in this canned Escalade and they're thumping and stuff. Yeah. And they're like, this thing got a cam in it? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, this is the coolest Uber ever. Like, floor it. And I'm like, I thought they were just messing with me.
Right.
Well, you know, it like throws a belt off or something on the highway. It was starting to snow too.
Right.
So I'm like sliding around. Yeah. I'm having fun. They're all laughing their ass off. And then the next day at the show, that was like a big story because the Kamikaze Chris had pulled out his phone and started live streaming it on his Facebook page.
Right.
And then some PR person, they didn't delete it afterwards, but not until a bunch of other people saw it. So it was like, then I was that guy. I was the Escalade Uber guy.
Yeah.
And I got to know the guy at Dart. And
man, what that's great timing, wasn't it? I mean, just for what you were wanting to do and meeting people like that, just, you know, it's pretty wild how people get put in your right spot at the right time for you, you know?
It does. And all this because I was willing to go freeze my ass off in a parking lot and just be there. I had to drive, 6 hours for me, which is, I think, the longest I had driven by myself to that point. But I'm going to go. I'm going to see if I can do something with this. And it did. The guy from Dart, I ended up, as I built the social media stuff, he was able to give me a really good price on a block.
Right.
And the crankshaft.
And that's all for the 2,000 or 1,000 horsepower motor you're wanting to build?
Yeah. And the same thing I was driving around. So they had known that I had already done something with it.
Right.
So that I was accredited that I'd actually do it because they already knew about it. I'm like, I'm going to take it to the next level and here's how. And I got to talk to CP Carlo at the PRI show and, put the little packet together with all the information and stuff. And they were like, okay, yeah, we're in for some rods and pistons. And so I had, like, literally, I just kind of went through and, like, here's everything I need that I can't afford. And I'm going to go try to get it sponsored or as cheap as possible.
Right.
And I know people do that all the time now. Like, sponsorships aren't, they're not handouts. Like, I had a deck made. I had packets that I'd bring to the show and I could show them to people. Or like I had it very clearly spelled out what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And it worked in those places. They believed in me. And I was able to get this engine put together. I didn't put it together.
So it's got curl rods and dart block and all the good stuff, huh?
Yeah, it was a dart block 427. It's like the same block that the Ilmore uses.
Right.
Except they have extra, for a normal oil pump. But yeah, and I got twin 76 millimeter turbos on it for ones that I initially bought. And then I got to know the turbo company a little bit. Right. And then they were like, well, give us those turbos you bought back and we'll upgrade you for free. So like kind of stuff like that, just, scraping, doing whatever you can.
It's hard to happen.
And
there's no way in the world you could have probably ever afforded just to go buy a motor like that. You know what I mean? No,
at that time, that was like a $20,000 engine.
Oh, yeah.
To just turnkey.
Who put it together for you? Did you do that or?
No, a guy named Mark Vinson did that. He was another guy I met through the Drag Week stuff.
So what kind of crankshaft you got? Did you put in it?
It was a billet dart crankshaft.
Right, man. So you got the best of everything.
Yeah, it was a freaking monster.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All the best stuff you can get.
Yep. And I wanted to go back to drag week in 2018 and run nines with it and sleep in and do all that. And through mad thrash of getting it there, I got it there. Some friends came in like last couple of days and helped me get it together. Just the same, work all night kind of thing.
Right.
And tow it down there with a borrowed trailer and go through tech, go get some food or something, and the transmission blows up.
Oh, man.
So
another weak link right there, wasn't it? Man.
Yep. Didn't get to use it, and then I had some problem with the coolant line in my truck. Same truck I drive now. Took me 16 hours to get back to Pittsburgh from Atlanta because I'd have to stop every 40 minutes and put more water in it.
Right.
And then stop and fill my water jugs.
Man.
It was just but I'm like, whatever, I'll just watch it. It gets hot, I'll pull over, fill it up.
And that was the good motor? Or
the Escalade was on the trailer.
Oh, it was on the trailer
at that point.
Yeah.
But on the way down there, all the tires blew up.
Right.
Because it was an old equipment trailer that for a guy I detailed cars for, let me borrow it. Yeah. And so about halfway down there, we had to take the Escalade off the trailer. And my friend drove it, and I drove the truck with like 2 wheels on the trailer just to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Get it there.
Done that before.
It was such a mess. Like when I hear all these, that's what drew me to all these stories of these guys like you and of your generation and previous. They did all this like wild stuff.
Yeah.
In their early days. And I'm listening to that, and I'm like, this is really not any different than what I've been doing.
Oh, yeah, it sounds just like the stuff I did, Yeah. I mean, the way I got there, so.
Except I'm driving to a drag strip and not an oval track.
An oval track.
And I always wanted to do that, but it still wasn't available to me, so I didn't even, wasn't even thinking about it.
Right, so you just stayed focused on what you had going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Escalade is actually how I got to know Mark Martin. Really? Yeah. Because he...
so you took it back to your place, your shop, and then did y'all fix the transmission, or you put a new one in it, or...
Yeah, I got it rebuilt, and then it blew up again. And then I got it rebuilt and blew up again.
Man.
A few more times.
Really?
Because there was nobody had ever put 2,000 horsepower in something that heavy.
And that's about what your motor was making, 2,000?
Not even at that time. I was like maybe 1,300. I didn't even have it turned up, and it kept melting.
Right. That's still awesome. That's really good. So what melted on it? What happened?
There's just transmission just couldn't blow it. Just burn it up.
Yeah, just killing the transmission. Yeah.
And they got the clutch packs to where it wouldn't blow up anymore, but then I started breaking the output shaft. Right. So then I found this place in Ohio called Extreme Automatics. They had...
And there probably wasn't another type transmission available, was it, at that time? Or
no. Right. It was a 4L80, which is basically a turbo 400 with overdrive. Right. But I didn't want to lose overdrive because I wanted it to still be a normal car. Right. And so I found this guy. He said, I can make that not blow up. Like, we'll get it figured out. And he took machined a case for some billet output shaft that was for Monster Jam or something. Right. Like for a turbo 400 on a monster truck. And I stopped breaking them. It had a manual valve body in it. Man, that's wild. And it started working.
And that's all he did was change the back tail housing of it, or is that what he said? Or
he changed the valve body too.
Oh, valve body, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Something about the way the fluid's distributed can't supply enough fluid to the clutches to not burn up when you have that much power. But it was like, I heard so much crap from people like, you do this and it won't blow up, do that and it won't blow up. Oh, like, I've done this and I've done that. Like, and I'm 22, but I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, everybody's got their own little tweak, I guess, to do on it, and tell you what to do. But nobody had that type of horsepower either,
Yeah, like, how are you going to tell me how this works and you've never done that before? Right. Like, what is perceived to be the best place you could go to get a transmission of a built that was a 4L80 has blown up 5 times. Right. And this other guy, Extreme Automatics, comes out of the blue, and he said, "Yeah, I can do that." Yeah, he was right.
That's pretty wild. There's another guy that pops right into your deal there. That out of nowhere and fix your problem.
Yeah, I heard about him from the same turbo truck guy that inspired me to do the turbos in the first place. Right. And then when I went to Indy and my transfer case blew up, that guy fixed it for me while I was at the show. Oh, really? Yeah. His name's Gary Harris. He lives near Indiana, so he's who I called. But that's just how the racing world is. Everybody, you just... Oh, yeah. It kind of mingles together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was like 10 years ago that I first met him now. I know you're taking us through your story and on it. It seems like I'm going, okay, that's about 80s, 90s. But you're way up into the 2015s and
not too long ago, within 10 years, like you said,
Yeah.
So you come a long way in a short amount of time too, haven't you?
Yeah, I never worked on a car until 2015, really.
Right. Man, it's pretty wild, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But you worked on your Escalade, right?
Uh-huh.
Before that.
No, I mean,
Really?
2015 is when I started.
Oh, really? All that was
Yeah.
2015? Okay.
Yeah.
I lost track of time there. Okay.
Yeah, probably like the end of 2014 is when the whole stuff blowing up in the Monte Carlo thing started.
Okay. I got you. So now it's what year is it now then, as far as when you got your transmission rebuilt and all that?
This was going into 19.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
So from 17 to 18 was just building the thing.
Right.
And then end of 18, I got it figured out. Spring of 19 is whenever it really started rolling.
Right.
And I started doing YouTube in the beginning of 2020.
Man. So where were you then when you started that? I mean, you were still in Pittsburgh or
Oklahoma.
So when did you when was that? When did that trip happen?
Well, I was getting to the point where I was getting close to being able to graduate, and I needed to do an internship. So
Graduate college. Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
I've been commuting, and I needed to do an internship. So I figured out a way to be an intern for the event series that I wanted to race my car at. so
That worked out good.
Yeah, I got 6 credits to go.
Still the same car, the Escalade?
Escalade, yeah.
Okay, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to go to their street car events and stuff. And, so I went to one in Bristol in 2019. That was the first one.
Right.
And, I talked to the guy. He knew about the Escalade. I met him at one of those PRI shows prior to that.
Right.
He said, yeah, well, you can be an intern. I'm like, you don't just sign the paper. I actually want to learn how you guys run this thing because it's cool. And one of them lived in Kansas City. The other one lived in Oklahoma City. And through that, the one guy in Oklahoma City had this trailer. It was a gooseneck that had like the living area in the front. Mm-hmm. And I was still borrowing a trailer from one of my other friends. I had a truck, but no trailer. I needed to get my own trailer because I felt bad dragging this thing I was all over Missouri, Oklahoma, back to Pittsburgh, everything. And because it was an internship for school, I wasn't paying for my gas or my diesel. So as long as I wasn't being dumb, I'm doing my job and I'm selling this to my dad as if I'm going to go I'm trying to find a job, basically.
Right.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, not screwing around. It just so happened to be that I liked it, but
it all worked out for you on that end of it.
Yeah. And this guy said, "Yeah, I'm trading in my trailer. You should buy mine." I'm like, "Yeah, right." Things like that's probably a $30,000 trailer.
Right.
I can't do that. I was looking at enclosed ones that were maybe like 10.
Right.
And I was still going to have to get a loan on it. And he said, "No, it's not that much. I'm trading it in down here, and they're only giving me like 18 for it." I'm like, "Really?"
Right.
Interesting. So sometimes when opportunities like that come up, you got to extend yourself a little farther to take it, even though I didn't at the time didn't think that I could. I didn't think I could get a loan that big, or I didn't know, but I'm like, I got to try.
Right.
Because if I can get that trailer, I don't have to get hotels anymore.
Right.
And I can go be where the opportunity is.
Right.
Whenever I need to. And I was able to do that. I got a loan, and my dad co-signed it.
Yeah.
And I also had to get a loan to get a different truck because my truck wouldn't pull it. So I thought I'll get a dually and sell my old truck.
Yeah.
And for the summer of 2019, I was going places with these guys, going back and forth. Or if there was a week in between events, instead of driving back to Pittsburgh, I would just go stay in the guy's parking lot in Kansas City or something.
Right.
Or Oklahoma City. And I got to really like it out there because that's where the hub of all that street car drag racing is.
Right.
When I go back to Pittsburgh, it's like nothing happens. I get frustrated when I go home because I'm like, I don't want to be here because every time I leave, everything moves forward, it grows, things happen, it gets better. I come back, it's like time comes here to die.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I felt. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
So it was September 5th or 6th, 2019. I left to go to LS Fest in Kentucky. And then I was going to go to Streetcar Tulsa the next weekend. So I figured I'd go to Oklahoma and wait that out and then go to do that. And I told everybody I'd be gone for 10 days. But in my mind, I was like, I'm going to look for any possible reason to never come back here, or at least to be gone as long as possible.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
I didn't come back until May to sell the trailer.
Right.
And then buy the motorhome that we still currently live in.
Right. So you sold the trailer that you bought that you were staying in, basically, and came back and sold it and got a motorhome. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. After I ended up making headers for another one of those Street Outlaw guys, Shane, the guy who raced with the dummy in his car.
Right.
Yeah. I went over to his place in Elk City, which is in the middle of nowhere.
And you're just meeting these people randomly as you're going along through life, just running across them. That's cool.
Yeah, I'd never met Shane before, but another guy I knew called me and said Shane was asking about getting headers built for his car. And I said, you might be interested. What do you think? I'm like, yeah, I'll do that.
Right.
And I didn't charge him anything.
Man, that's a cool opportunity, though, to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I want to do this. I can make a little video about it or something. Because I was like, at that same time, I was realizing that I really liked doing the turbo fab stuff, the creativity of it. And I did one car for one of those other guys. That's how I ended up staying there, was to build a turbo kit for his car it was going to be at the PRI show. And that was not nearly as fun as doing it to my own car.
Right.
Because they come in every day and say, what are you doing? Like, why isn't it done yet? Like, it looked like that yesterday.
Right.
I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Like, well, that costs too much. I'm like, what? Like, do you want your turbos to be as symmetrical as mine are?
Right.
If you do, then it's going to take me another day to fiddle with this jig and make it perfect. Or we can run it just like this. And he's like, you just run it just like that. We need to get this done.
Right. You weren't interested in that.
Right at that moment, I was just like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I finished the car.
Yeah.
I did the best I could, but I thought I'm not going to, like, put all my eggs in the basket of doing this for other people every day, all the time.
Right. Yeah. Building parts and headers and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I thought, well, how can I do this and still have fun only with my own stuff, so I don't have anybody telling me what to do, how to do it, or and I was like, well, I guess it has to be on YouTube. So that's why I started trying to do the YouTube. Like, I never woke up one day and was like, I want to be famous. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be.
And I think that's what's interesting. People want to know that, what you just said. How you evolved into that, which is coming up now. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I never thought. And at that time, NASCAR still wasn't in my sphere. I thought I was going to have some shop where I built custom suburban turbo kits for people and stuff, and do YouTube or whatever. But it wasn't until the lockdown really when I started, because I hated living in that trailer. It was so tiny. But I thought, if I could, like, if it was a little bigger, I could do this.
Right.
And I could, minimize my footprint and just stay in this thing. I could go build headers or turbo kits wherever I need to go between Kansas City, Oklahoma City, or Dallas. Like, I knew people in all those places that had shops. So I started looking at old motorhomes, and I was like, I wonder what those things that were cool when I go to the races with my dad, I wonder what they're like now. Like, yeah, it was a Newell. That's what it was called. I hadn't looked up a Newell in forever.
Right.
And I only remember that because of what Mark Martin was posting on my Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I wonder how much an old Newell is. And I went and looked, and I thought, that's not too far off from the combined value of my dually and this trailer.
Yeah.
And my old truck was still sitting in the weeds at home because I never came home to sell it.
Right.
Just still there. So I was kind of thinking maybe I could sell this trailer, sell the truck, get a motorhome, go back to driving my old truck, which is not as nice, but it gets better fuel mileage, so it'd be a better one to use. And that's what I did. I kind of put that up, and through the process of looking at these old Newells, a lot of them were owned by former racers. And then that started to get me down the rabbit hole and rehydrate all of my interests as a kid of like, I remember this, I remember that. It woke me up. And I don't know, there was some point just sitting in my trailer during the lockdown in Oklahoma City, and I was like, if I could just snap my fingers and do anything I wanted to do without like no bounds of reality considered. I was like, I'd still want to be a NASCAR driver. But I just never thought I could do it.
Right.
Because I thought it was like the NFL or something where you had to be bred out of a test tube, and if you didn't start driving a go-kart when you grew feet, that you never had a shot.
Right.
But I didn't stop there. I started to look into it.
Right.
And I started to discover a little bit of how things actually worked, to where, like, okay, well, this dude's dad is the CEO of the company on his car. And then you look, you see a handful of those, or somebody who is somebody's son. And I'm like, so you're telling me that the best talent pool of race car drivers only happens to be somebody who already raced before,
right,
or the son of somebody who's very wealthy.
right,
Like that doesn't,
right.
no, can't be. It doesn't add up. And I thought, well, maybe if a guy like Travis Pastrana can go run NASCAR because he races dirt bikes, that doesn't really
right.
like,
that doesn't really qualify for the best in the world, so to say, right?
Yeah,
as
but
far as NASCAR or whatever.
Well, he's known for something else.
Yeah,
and then he could transfer that and go do this.
mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I'll just keep hammering down on the direction I'm going, and then I'll be able to transfer that into doing stuff with stock cars once I have the value behind me to find the backing to do it.
Right.
Because I don't have the family backing to do it or any of that. I had to so I knew all this, and this is 2020.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not. And then I had to go live in Dallas, Texas, because the place I was at in Oklahoma, the other guy in that building didn't want my trailer taking up space in his parking lot anymore.
Right.
I went to an event, and I came back, and there was just a bunch of cars with no engines parked there. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to move them. I'm like, okay. So my options here.
Yeah.
I either got to go back to Pennsylvania. In my mind, I lose if I do that. Or I go to this other...
Not an option anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, I was like, I got to go to this shop in Dallas and go live in Texas. And I went there to do some stuff for this guy like a month prior. I hated it.
Yeah.
It was such culture shock for me. Like, it was in Arlington, like a mile from Cowboy Stadium, in an industrial park, like concrete everywhere, no nature.
Right.
It was just like, it was hot. It was just weird. Like, it's the farthest possible thing from Butler, Pennsylvania that you could get. I about had a nervous breakdown. I called my dad. I'm like, I can't do this because I considered staying there before.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't like this at all. I want to go back to Oklahoma. I like it there more. And then I try to go back there and I can't.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. And we kind of skipped over a little bit of the Mark Martin thing because I was very interested in hearing what you had to say about Mark. And then I think we're talking about Newell's because he was a big Newell guy. When you bought your motorhome.
Yeah, that was right around the same time as when I went to go sell that trailer. Shortly before that, Mark had posted on Instagram that he bought a Yukon Denali. And he's very active on Instagram. So for like the 6 months prior to that, I had, I'd comment on his stuff and he'd answer. And I figured, at some point he's going to click on my profile and he's going to think, oh, this is cool. Maybe he'll follow me.
Right.
If he's, it ended up being exactly what happened. He posted on that Yukon, and I commented on it and said I could make that fast. And then he said, he's like, send me a message or something. So I did, because before that, he would like go through and he would like some post I made that was like 6 months old or something like that. He would go through and read stuff because I'd have really long captions about things and they're like, lessons or stories. And
it's probably pretty cool too, knowing that Mark Martin's going back and reading your stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was, because I had no contact with this NASCAR world prior to that. You're like, that's Mark Martin. I'm just out here just screwing with an Escalade, and well, he's paying attention. This is crazy.
Right.
Well, then after he got that Yukon, then he did follow me. Then I sent him a message back and forth a couple times, and then just never bothered him after that, really. But then at the same time, when I was looking for old Newells, I found Dale Earnhardt's old Newell for sale. And I went and made a video. I thought I was going to go buy it, even though I didn't have my other stuff sold yet. That was one of those times from like, if I can, if this thing's right, it's got to be right first. I got to be able to use it for what I need it for. I'm not just going to buy it just to say I have Dale Earnhardt's Newell and then have it financially ruin me.
Right.
That would be huge. Really cool. So I didn't really know for sure what it was doing, but I'm like, well, I talked to the guy on the phone once. I'm going to get in the truck. I'm going to drive to Nevada and go look at this thing, see if I can do something with it. And I filmed it too. And the thing ended up being a mess. Like, it was so far, it needed way more than what I could manage, and it wasn't going to be suitable to actually go places.
Right.
So I'm like, I can't I can't.
Talking about the Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Really, what was wrong with it? I mean, it's just too much money for the.
It hadn't been maintained at all. It had tires on it from 2004.
Really?
Like it needed, batteries, shocks. The ride height sensors were messed up. It was like grinding on one of the tires, and like the windshield looked like it had popped out. I'm just like, there's no way I could actually use this thing as a tool. It would have to, it'd have to be so cheap.
And how are you making a living at this point? At that point in time,
I had no overhead.
But are you selling videos at that point in time? Or are you making videos or
a little bit? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd done a few. They wouldn't make much money, but it was like a couple $100 here and there. Or I'd do side jobs, welding something together for somebody, or
just hustling and
random stuff. Or reinforce this thing, or weld up this intercooler brick for that guy. Just random stuff.
Right.
And I didn't really have, because I was still, I had been able to switch my college stuff to do it online.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still in college. I was just there.
Right.
And then whenever the world shut down, it was kind of just like, everything was on pause anyway. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't expected to do anything.
Right.
Which helped me, honestly. But
or just freed you up where you didn't feel like you had, a bunch of responsibilities on you or whatever. You just kind of.
Yeah. Right. Like I could still, I didn't have to pay for my food.
Right.
When I was eating turkey sandwiches and stuff, I wasn't, trying to be as minimal as possible, because I knew if I overextended it, my leeway with my dad could go away instantly. So I wanted to have the lowest, smallest footprint as possible, because I don't want this to stop. I can't lose that. So I spent money like it was my own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was able to do that and not have him get mad about it, because it was not any different than if I had been staying at home. Really, probably would have been worse if I was at home, because I'd be eating his food too instead of scraping along eating Cheerios and turkey sandwiches. But I made the video about that Earnhardt Newell, even though I didn't buy it. I was mad about it, because I was like real excited about it. And then when it was a letdown, I was just like, I don't want to do anything for a while. So I posted it like a month later, and then I got to some people at Newell, and the Newell factory was only an hour or so away from where I was. So I'm like, oh, I'd love to see the place. So I went up there, and they had somebody give me a tour, and I thought, I have to get an old Newell now. If I know these people, they built it here. They have all the records for it. They know how it works. Like, if I go get an old Prevost or something, I'm not going to ever have that relationship with Prevost.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's got to be a Newell. And I thought, well, if I get a Newell, then that's a networking tool for me, because now I have a Newell as a conversation piece. It'll facilitate things that if I went and bought an old Monaco or something, maybe for less money, it wouldn't do that for me. So I was kind of banking on that. And when I sold the trailer, I sold it for a good bit more than I paid for it, because it was worth as much as I thought it was. I just got a deal on it. And I sold it to a guy in Pittsburgh, ironically. And that was June of 2020. And I was like, kind of feeling stagnant again. I'm like, I got to go. I don't have a place to stay. I could stay in this guy's couch in Texas. I just got to go. So I left with my dually and my other truck on the trailer to go look at a Newell in Darlington, which was the one I ended up buying. And it's just one of those things where stuff works out.
Right.
The guy has a gas dually that looks just like mine.
Right.
And he said, would you ever sell that truck? And I'm like, I'd have to sell this truck if I want to buy your Newell. And he said, well, he's like, maybe we'll figure something out. Like, I'd really like to have that truck. I want a diesel. This one's gas. I don't like it. It's like, okay. So I had $30,000 that I sold the trailer for. That was a check, but it was still like loan money. So I just kept paying on the same loan, but now I had it in a check instead of a trailer. And I traded him my dually plus that $30,000.
Yeah. Drove
away with a Newell.
Man.
All the rest of the way to Texas.
Right. So you got exactly what you want at that point.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yep. And it was, I knew it was Alan Sir Jr.'s old Newell, which is kind of this, that, or whatever. I just needed one. And it worked. It drove good. It was functional. And it was the right price. But I didn't know much else about it. He said it may have been Robbie Gordon's, but I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll figure that out later. the day after I post that, I'm in parking lot in Memphis on my way out to Texas, and I wake up and I got a DM from Mark Martin, and he's like, "Hey man, send me a text," and it's the phone number. So I'm like, "Oh my God, this is cool."
Right.
I guess my thought of this thing could open doors for me is going to work, because it's just, here it is. So
I already started, you know?
Yeah. So I texted him, and then immediately he calls me. When the phone's ringing, I'm about to pick it up. I'm like, I'm about to answer a phone call from Mark Martin. It's the craziest, weirdest thing. And he answered, he's saying, "Hey man, it's Mark Martin. I've been paying attention to what you're doing. Can't wait to see what you do with that thing. Like, it's really cool. Just want to say, I think it's awesome."
With the Newell?
Yeah. He was excited to see that I got that thing, because he's big into that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And prior to that, even driving from Darlington to Memphis, somebody told me, "Why don't you call Robbie Gordon Motorsports and ask him about it?" So I did. And I said, "Hey, I just bought this motorhome. Somebody told me it used to be Robbie's. It's got like checkers down the side. I didn't know." And the receptionist was like, "Hang on a minute." And I'm on hold for a minute, and comes off a hold. And it's a dude, and it's like, "Hey, it's Robbie Gordon. I can't believe you found my old motorhome. Where'd you find that thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, I didn't know Robbie still had a shop in Charlotte or anything. I'm like, that was 20 years ago. He's probably back in California or something by now. I didn't know anything about any of that. So in the span of signing the papers and driving away with this thing, in 24 hours, I talked to Robbie Gordon and Mark Martin on the phone.
So everything's working just like you hoped it would.
Yeah. I'm like, well, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is great. And I drove that to Texas, parked in this parking lot, and now I had Mark Martin as a resource, but I didn't bother him. I never really texted him or anything. Maybe if I had a question like, "What do you dump your oil into when you drain 5 gallons out of these things?" Like, real questions. And but he paid attention. He watched my videos about it, like changing air fittings and airbags. Like, I'm under there in a parking lot, and
in your video and all this stuff.
It's still on there. All those old videos are on there, and I had 5,000 subscribers or so.
And that's when you really started. Your process there.
I was like, I'm going to post a video like every day. Whatever I'm doing, I'll post a video about it just to get the reps in. Because I didn't like editing, but I'm like, I have to do it. So that's what I was doing, and it turned out that the motorhome stuff was getting more views than my Escalade racing stuff. So I was like, wow, this is weird. Let's keep doing this. And pretty much that whole summer of 2020, from June is when I landed in Texas, to September, was just grinding it out, doing whatever I could. And then I go do Rocky Mountain Race Week with my Escalade. And actually, right before that, I got to know a guy who had a YouTube channel through my own research of RV stuff. It's RVing with Andrew Steele. He was getting started then. He's big now too, but he started just before me, and we kind of got to know each other. And he's like, "Yeah, why don't you come up to Sturgis?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah," because I knew that Rusty and Stephen Wallace go there. At that time, in my mind was, I need to get to know anybody that I can in NASCAR world. I don't live in Charlotte. I can't afford to live in Charlotte, but I need to.
Are you? And for what reason? You just was interested in the NASCAR thing then? That's the only reason, or what made you think that way?
My overall goal was to eventually race
at that point in time,
that was always in the back of my mind, but I knew that I wasn't there.
And you're thinking, go to Sturgis. Okay, well, Rusty and Steven there is could be another good contact. That's what you're thinking. Just
people don't know. Like, it never hurts to be present, meet people, and stuff. And I didn't really talk to Rusty that much, just a little bit with Andrew, because Andrew made a video with him. But I was there, and he saw my Escalade, and it turns out, like, whatever, 2 or 3 years later, when I eventually did do a video with Rusty and Steven, they remembered that. They were like, "Weren't you at Sturgis with that Escalade?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that was me."
That's cool.
Yeah.
Man.
And so I did that, and I did a video with a couple other YouTube guys about my Escalade. Then I did that race week thing, and that all kind of happened in a quick succession that took the YouTube from 5,000 subscribers to, I don't know, like 20
Right.
within a month.
Right.
And then I could post a video and it might make $100 or something.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm like, okay, I'm on to something here and I got to make this stick or I'm screwed. So I got to do whatever I can.
Or you'll be riding around in your Newell up and down the road, not really knowing what to do, basically,
Yeah, or not being able to take it anywhere because I can't afford to put diesel in it. But luckily, during this whole thing, because of the lockdown, diesel was so cheap.
Yeah.
It was so cheap. It was like $1 something. So I drove everywhere.
Yeah.
All over the place, like from Nebraska to back to Texas, from Texas to Sturgis to Phoenix.
Man.
Like saw the Mexican border. Like,
and that was 22, 23?
2020.
Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. And I was in,
so 6 years ago, you're sitting there riding around your Newell, really not knowing what you wanted to do or what, or you knew what you wanted to do, but you didn't know how to get there, basically.
Yeah.
And started making your videos then.
Yeah. Yeah. I went real hard. June of 2020, when I got to Texas with the Newell, is whenever I started posting like every day.
Right.
And started gaining momentum.
And I'm sure the more you started seeing that, the more you want to do, basically,
Yeah.
So
because you see stuff start to go up and up and up, and like I gotta strike while the iron's hot. I can't stop.
And you're just doing videos about your own stuff. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. It's changing airbags, fixing air leaks, whatever I was doing. I did a video with the Newell factory too, which was the first time we ever did that. And the guy they had give me the tour was Josh Snyder, who was Dale Jr.'s friend from way back. Right. So he was one of the first people I knew, or when we eventually did move here, I would ask him things because I didn't know anybody else here. Yeah, that's also around that time was whenever Logan came into the mix, is whenever I was still in Texas. She came and lived with me in the motorhome. And I met her for the first time on the same trip that I bought the Newell and went to Texas with it. So that was kind of all that was happening at the same time. And
that's pretty cool because it's almost like you just freewheeling it. You know what I mean? You got the freedom to do that, and you're able to do it, and just making things happen. And then she comes into your life, and I mean, just a lot of things went on in that short amount of time, didn't it?
It really did.
Man,
it was really compressed and very fast. And I went from kind of just freewheeling to having a lot of responsibility really fast.
Right.
And it was hard to figure all that out at first and to manage it. And in May of 2020, the shop I was at, I didn't really like how things were going there. Like they weren't finishing cars and, kind of just, but when I got there the year before, they had no business. And then through doing the stuff, and we did videos at like a local, like sketchy drag strip and stuff, and it got business for the shop, and it was really turning into something. We were selling t-shirts and it was like going good.
Right.
But the shop itself was not working well, and I was associated with it. And I'm like, I got to get out of here because this is bad for me to be associated with this. And people would just come in there and
you were living in your motorhome then?
Yeah, in front of the shop, which everybody knew. So I could be found by anybody at any time.
Right.
It was getting kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was a bad part of town too. Like, I'd go out in the middle of the night to go pee in a bush behind the motorhome, and I'd hear somebody's cat getting sawed off down the block, or just like you just hear, like, it's dead silent. Middle of the night, you hear a sawzall and an exhaust pipe out in the distance, and you're just like, that's just Tuesday in Arlington.
Right. Man. Just cutting the catalytic converters off. Yeah.
That's what it sounded like. Right. Why else would you hear a sawzall running at 2 a.m?
Yeah, man.
Somebody tried to steal my truck once. Somebody tried to steal a boat at some boat dealership across the street, and the guy was like shooting his shotgun into the dirt. So they tried to scare him away. Like, I don't know. One time we were watching, like one of those murder documentaries on Netflix or something. Yeah. Me and Logan in the motorhome, and we heard gunshots, and we heard a couple more gunshots, and we're like, that sounds way too good to be coming from the TV, because there were gunshots in the show.
Yeah.
So we paused the show and kind of like held tight for a second, and
Yeah.
Like, that was real. It's close.
Right.
Shut all the lights off, get down. Because we didn't know if we're going to,
Oh, yeah.
we don't know what's happening.
Right.
So we turn all the lights off, get in the back of the bus behind the bed, and I call the police, and like, yeah, we're, in Great Southwest Parkway in Arlington, just heard gunshots. Like, what's going on? And they said, oh, that's a road rage incident over on 360. It should be gone now. Like,
yeah, like no big deal.
What? Yeah. Isn't.
Yeah.
Like, all right, there is now a loaded pistol next to me.
Yeah.
All the time.
Right.
That's what nobody knows this stuff.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like, they don't.
That's great. Yep.
It's just, and I can't, even now, I think, I can't believe we did that.
Right.
I can't believe she went and stayed with me.
Right.
In that environment.
Right.
I can't believe I stayed in that environment.
Right. Right.
You block it out because it's make the best of this or die.
Right.
Was like my mentality.
Yep. And you probably kept thinking, well, if I don't go any further than I am right now, this is further than I ever thought I'd be, sort of attitude,
I don't know if I did think that at the time. I think I was just so wrapped up on what I was doing that I was just like taking it as it came and trying to make the most of what I had. But whenever the crunch happened of all the stuff that went down at that shop, which also involved more sleeping next to a loaded gun.
Yeah.
I was like, well, if I'm going to leave here and go pay rent somewhere, I don't have to pay rent in Dallas, Texas. I can go wherever I want. And I was sitting there watching TV, like, TV's on. I'm spaced out, and I'm thinking about this, and it's like, I'm going to Mooresville. I'm going to figure out how to get. I'm going to figure out how to get there. And don't know anybody there. Had a pretty good ecosystem of people and things to film and stuff in Dallas. But I was just like, 5 years from now, I want to be there racing cars, not doing more of this here.
Mm-hmm.
So I started trying to figure out how to do that. And that was a whole big process. By the time we did get that figured out, we moved from Texas to there about the end of July in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a video about that on YouTube too. That was a whole big mess. Then we get to this shop over in Denver, and we're there for a month and a half. And these people, it was like too small, but I was like, I just got to get out of Texas before I get shot.
Denver, North Carolina.
Yeah. I was like, I don't care. This is too small. I don't really like it, but just got to get out of this situation because it's bad. It's dangerous. Stuff's going to get stolen, vandalized, or worse. It's got to go. So we did that. And these people are like, oh, we're moving in a pro stock team. You can either exit your lease or
so you rented a building?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just like a spot of a building. It was like 1,200 square feet or something.
Then you kept your motorhome there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, plugged into it, and we still live next to it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, you could exit the lease or you can share this other building with us. Your rent will go up, and there'll be other people in there too. Like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
See you. So we good.
And that was 2022?
21.
21. Okay.
That was October of 21.
Mm.
Yeah.
So now you're in North Carolina October 21st, or October 21.
2021, yeah.
In Denver, North Carolina, I got you.
Yeah. We got there at the beginning of August, basically. By the time we go move everything, because it was like we moved there, made a trip to do an event in Charlotte to kind of like look for places, and then the Yukon with the turbo that we were towing, we went up to Pennsylvania, left it at my dad's house with all like the bins of t-shirts, whatever we could fit in it. We knew that we weren't coming back, so to make everything work in one shot.
Right.
It was like this big game of stuff, but so we drop the stuff off in North Carolina, go back up to Pennsylvania for a few days, come back down. Now it's the beginning of August, so it's kind of like when we actually got there, and then we had to move again in October.
And when your thoughts of going to North Carolina was you want to get here just because of racing, or you feel like you could carry was your YouTube business going on good then at that point in time and starting to build? And
yeah, it was good enough where I knew that if I
and you could do it anywhere.
Yeah,
really.
I could sustain paying rent somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much as soon as we left, once I had some money saved up and I felt confident that it wasn't going to disappear overnight.
Yeah.
Then because I didn't have any rent at the shop in Texas, which helped me save up quicker. So I could just kind of get by. But I thought in the short term, be in North Carolina would be a good place to be because there would be a lot of stuff to film.
Yeah.
Because doing the building cars and stuff, that was the time whenever parts were super hard to get.
Yeah.
Because of the shutdown and all that. And I thought, I got to have, stuff to film that isn't necessarily my own cars to keep this thing going.
Right, right.
Or it'll die.
Yeah, because you would eventually run out of things to do, and that probably.
Yeah, that and, the economics of you got to spend a couple $1,000s on parts in a week to put it on and then post a video that doesn't make that back. You're not going to pay your bills that way.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So you're learning how now to turn what you're doing into a business pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I was.
And the whole time you've been surviving off of that. Pretty much, or starting to survive off
the beginning of probably like mid 2020 is whenever I, that's pretty much when it was, because when the channel got monetized in the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
But it was making like a couple dollars a day or something.
Yeah.
I'd have a good video that got 2,000 views instead of 500. Maybe I'd make like $20, but it wasn't much.
Okay.
The first time I got a check that was like a few $100s wasn't until August or September, and I was so pumped because I went and bought myself a vacuum cleaner and a pressure washer, so I could wash my truck. That was just like, I remember being so pumped that like, I'm going to Lowe's and buy myself a vacuum cleaner.
Oh yeah,
like
wet vac. Yeah,
this is like a normal sweeper just for inside the motorhome,
right?
Because it had this built-in central vac thing, but it wasn't very powerful, so it took you forever to clean off the black carpet.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like dumb stuff like that.
Yeah.
I went from being responsible for nothing really, to now I'm responsible for paying rent and another person because Logan is with me too.
Oh yeah,
so she's helping me do stuff. Yep.
So she came with you on that that trip. I got you.
Yeah.
So now you're in North Carolina, and you were in Denver, and you moved from Denver somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, where to then?
To one of the buildings in the Mooresville Drag Strip Park.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, because it was the only place that was open at the time, because everything was full then, and it was dirty and it smelled weird and but it was kind of like the same thing. It's take this or die. Right.
And you needed a place to obviously put your motorhome at to live, so that's where you were living and your shop, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody knew that for 4 years because it was illegal.
Right.
And we learned from the lessons in Texas that people will come find you if they know where to find you.
Oh, yeah.
At any time. So we tried to stay as low profile as possible.
Right. And what were you doing in your shop at that point in time? Meanwhile, you're making videos, but you're videoing your stuff that you're doing in your shop.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We did some stuff with our own cars then and started to get more into the NASCAR history stuff, mostly because it was distracting for me to be around all this stuff all the time, but stay focused on what I thought I was supposed to be doing or like making videos about.
Right.
And shortly, it was October, like right before we moved out of the first shop in North Carolina, somehow it come up from Mark Martin. He said he was moving out of Arkansas. He wouldn't be back for a long time. And I was like, yeah, because I talked to him before about wanting to see his museum sometime because I've listened to all of his podcasts. And he's like, if you want to do that, we should do it soon because I'm not going to be back here for a long time.
Right.
So like, okay, we'll come out there and we'll do a video about it.
Right.
And I had not met him in person before that.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive to Arkansas.
And you hadn't done any other videos with other people until Mark? He was one of your first ones?
He was the first, like, big time guest.
Okay.
I think prior to that, we did the Darrell Waltrip truck you were talking about because we got to meet Aaron Brown. He was only like a mile down the street.
Yeah.
And did the one about Rockingham. So that that opened the door into the NASCAR stuff.
Right. And now you're seeing that this is a good way to do things, right?
Yeah.
The way you wanted to do them,
Yeah, because I was all pumped up getting to like see all this stuff that I was so interested in as a kid.
Right.
And realizing that there was a lot of other people who are into that also.
Right.
Not just me.
Right.
So.
But at that time, nobody was doing what you're doing now. It's still today, probably,
Yeah. Yeah, if somebody had been doing it already, I would have been watching it. Right. I don't know that I would have.
Right.
Like, it was my own curiosity. Like, I want to see this.
Yeah.
and then make a video about it, because it's really just
you got the best of both worlds. And go in and see with Mark Martin, see what he's got going on in his museum and all, and film it and use it.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then he was talking about how one of the signs from his old shop is at his dad's old trucking place still. And I'm like, where's that at? He's like, well, I'll just go show it to you if you got some time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll film it. So I film that. And he drives us over there and tells stories. And he drives to some other, garage before that and tells stories. And then I get back to the shop and go to edit it. I'm like, what am I going to call this video? Like, okay, this is Mark Martin's hometown history tour.
Right.
And I thought, we could do this with anybody.
Yeah.
And I want to do this with everybody, because this is cool.
Yep.
And we found this old RCR Dale Earnhardt show car trailer for sale in Missouri, like January of 2022. And I saw the route went through St. Louis. Like, okay, if we're going to drive to St. Louis to get this thing, I want to film something on the way. Kenny Wallace lives in St. Louis.
Right.
So I asked Mark Martin, I said, do you think Kenny Wallace would be interested in doing a hometown tour video like we did with you?
Right.
He said, let me ask him. So then 20 minutes later, Kenny Wallace calls me. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do that. Mark Martin says you're great. Like, let's do it. Never met him either.
Yeah.
So we go up there, do that. Goes great. Now Kenny's our friend.
Yeah.
And Kenny Wallace then led to, I found the old Blue Max shop. And I said, do you think Rusty would be interested in doing a video with us at the old Blue Max shop? And he's like, probably. Here's his number. Just ask him, tell him I told you to.
Right.
And I'm like, you just want me to cold call Rusty Wallace?
Right.
Like,
right.
That just seems like a bad idea. But
yeah.
So, I'm sitting there, pulling my phone and typing, hey, Rusty, Kenny Wallace gave me your number. He told me, like I feel like the biggest idiot in the world.
Right.
And then I send it, and he answers 2 minutes later. He said, yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And we go do that. And then.
And that's probably what the time that you're feeling like that people like Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Kenny Wallace, they're all normal people. When you get to know them, who they really are, and not what you've seen when you were little growing up, seeing the superstar status of them, but because that's one of the things I noticed, everybody's normal. Like Kenny calls Rusty, it's just like a pretty normal thing,
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's why you feel at that point, like, man, this is pretty cool. These guys are really cool, normal people,
Yeah.
They're not, up here NASCAR drivers that nobody talks to, nothing like that. So I bet that's a pretty neat experience for you.
Yeah, it was. There was exactly who you wanted them to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, what you thought they should be. Yep.
Yes, when you're a kid and you think these guys are cool dudes, like they're the real deal, and all that, and you get there and you included, you're just like normal dude,
right?
Who plays with cars,
right?
Just like me, just like everybody else. Except that you just do it in front of a camera, and there's a lot of people who watch it. But when you go home, it's just normal stuff.
Yep.
And I think that's what makes that so cool, and that whole generation so cool is because almost all you guys are that way.
Yeah.
There might be a couple exceptions, but almost all of them are really, really cool, normal dudes.
That's the first thing I noticed. When you coming up, in the ranks or whatever, and you start getting around your people that you looked up to, Darrell Waltrip, and Cale Yarborough and those guys, and realize how down to earth and cool they really are. You know what I mean? So I thought that was neat too. I noticed I got to experience that also. Coming up through the ranks. So, but heck, you're one of them now. Now you're one of those guys that people look up to that want to talk to you and be normal. See that you're normal.
Yeah. I don't feel like that. I still feel like the same guy.
And I'm sure Rusty and none of them guys felt like that. I never felt that way, but that's the way people perceive you. You know what I mean? Just because of what you do. And so
yeah, that's
pretty neat.
Did you ever have a moment where it clicked for you, where it's like it's not me and them, it's a chain,
right? And
I'm just a link in that chain.
Oh yeah, the
same way that they were a link in that chain for someone before them.
Right.
Like, this is how this goes. Like, I'm not an outsider. I've here.
Right.
I'm supposed to be this link in the chain.
Right.
So that there can be another one after me.
Right. Oh yeah. And that's what I say all the time. It's a lot about people get put in front of you, like we said earlier, for different situations. And it's just about timing, and the timing of you talking to Mark and staying in touch with Mark, and led you to Kenny, Kenny led you to Rusty, you just feel like you're just, you're part of it, and it doesn't, it's not, I think a lot of people think that you get that point where it goes from bouncing from your hometown, boom, straight to the top. There's such a journey in between, and we're obviously listening to yours today that has been very interesting. You don't hear that, and everybody gets there a different way. You know what I mean? Like your way is totally different than a lot of people's, but yet kind of the same. You know what I mean? If you look at it that way, and I think that's probably the neatest thing about just life in general. You know, and living your dreams and all that is, things just happen for a reason. You don't really know why. How, because it seemed like every move you made has been the right move. You feel that way, like from where you were, you moved to Dallas or wherever, then you go back to Denver, North Carolina, then you're in Mooresville, and it just seemed like, every opportunity that got thrown at you, you took it and it led you in the right direction,
Yeah, it does. And I've always kind of thought that if I let what's in here steer me, like I call it my gut compass, like when I'm faced with a situation, sometimes there is no deliberation because you just know what to do.
Yep.
And I think maybe everybody has that in different times where they know what to do, but they second guess that.
Right. Exactly. And that goes back to, because that just made me think about something. You're sitting in your motorhome, you and Logan, and you hear those gunshots. That little moment right there probably changed your whole world and you don't even realize it. Just by hearing those, you realize, well, I got to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do something different, which you then were able to take by your gut and switch directions and going about another way, But just think about that. Those little things like that, I don't think a lot of people realize that happen in life. That, like you said, if an opportunity comes your way and you don't take it, where could you have been? You know what I mean? Or where would that have led you? And that goes back to just hearing the gunshots that night,
Yeah.
Just little things like that you don't realize that got you to where you are today until you go look back at them,
Yeah. Had that situation in Texas stayed good and stayed functional,
right,
like it could still be there. Like I could have ended up, laying roots in Texas and stuff. And honestly, if we were doing that and those types of videos, the revenue was higher than it is now. Like relative to how many t-shirts we sold back then, it is like such a small amount.
Right.
Like I wish we could sell as many t-shirts as we did back then now.
Right.
But now, like, we're not the star of the show anymore.
Right.
So it's not the same.
Right.
But I'm okay with that because I feel better about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like my value to the world is more doing this than what I was doing before.
Right.
And I know that it's, I don't know, as long as I can function and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Like if I feel good in here,
right,
I'm good with that. Like I can't be something I'm not to make more money.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Because I started to do that a little bit way back then because I thought that's what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I just felt like crap. Yeah. Like I just did something inside just didn't feel good.
And it doesn't matter what the money is at that point in time. It could be a lot of money, and if it just doesn't feel right, you can't be yourself, and have the freedom of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't normally work out,
Yeah, you just gotta listen to that gut compass.
Yeah,
take a second and really evaluate, like, how do I feel about this? More so from in here, but just as a whole.
Right,
and it's there, like it is for me anyway. Right. The more I lean into it, the louder it is.
Yeah,
and heck, even if there was no lockdown in 2020,
right,
I could still be in Oklahoma because nobody really knows this, but right before that happened, I got called to be on Street Outlaws with my Escalade.
Yeah,
they were doing a filming in South Texas with like daily drivers, like trucks and stuff. And the Oklahoma City guy called me to be on the team Oklahoma City.
Man,
I was in Texas for that.
Right,
when the world shut down, and then it never came up again. Or by the time they started filming again, I wasn't living in Oklahoma anymore. Right. So that was that. But what if it didn't shut down and I went and did an episode of Street Outlaws? Like I could be building turbo kits in Oklahoma right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just...
Or if your dad would have let you race go-karts when he was little, you might not have met... None of that would have ever happened.
Yeah, I would have been another kid who raced go-karts and didn't anymore.
Right, and then fell out of school and just went to college for a little bit and had been over, But so that's what I'm saying. It all starts at a young age, and people don't really realize that either,
Yeah.
That dream you got to have. And it sounds like you've always had a dream with a vision to go with it. You're not sure where it's going to end up, like anybody, but, it's definitely in the right direction for sure.
Yeah. And I thought, when I was sitting in my trailer and thinking, well, maybe I'd pay attention to NASCAR if there were a driver or drivers that had more stories that were in line with mine, or like these older guys. And then it just, one of those things just came to me and was like, you do it.
Right.
Why not?
Right.
If someone's going to do it, why don't you do it?
Right.
You already did all this part.
Right.
Sounds good to you. Just
so that part of your life came after you moved to the drag strip, right? The shop in the drag strip.
This was back when I was in Oklahoma.
Okay,
I had that revelation. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
But I had to put that on the back burner because I was so far from it.
Right, but it was in your mind.
Yeah, okay. It was like a goalpost that was like way down the
right. You could see it. Yeah, you could see it, but you just didn't know how to get there to kick the field goal, basically.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep. Exactly.
But so now you were in Mooresville and you living there beside your new place that you rented in the drag strip. And so is now the point that your YouTube business started taking off better, or was it?
It never really took off. Like it felt like it took off in the beginning when it got off the ground.
But to you, it just seemed like a long.
In the beginning, it felt like this.
Yeah.
Because it went from nothing to then something.
Right.
But then once it was up here, now it's just this like slugging it out.
Right.
Just for like slow.
Right.
Increments. And then
trying to maintain that steady climb. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I bought my race car, that was like an airplane hitting turbulence where it starts to go like this.
Right.
Because now I'm not only doing my job, I'm like do nothing and then it starts to go down and then it comes back up.
Right.
And down. Like you can see it on the daily view chart. There's where you bought the race car. There's where you did all the body work. There's where you finished the body work.
Right.
Now the line's back up. Now you're working for the rest of the year. And then the beginning of 2024, when I started like really buckle down to get the thing put together, is whenever the chart goes like this.
Right.
Because I'm not. Yeah.
Right. So you have to really, you got to stay on top of that then to keep that thing moving steadily up, and not or mainly just steadily, just straight ahead.
Yeah,
it's pretty tough. I'm sure
Yeah, it's kind of like a swing set. If you stop pumping, you'll go for a little bit, and then it'll stop.
Right, and for some reason, race cars always seem to put those dips in everybody's life. You know what I mean? When you start racing and doing your own for your own self, doing your own stuff, and no matter what you do, you lose focus because you get so focused on what you're trying to do in racing that you forget everything else. It seems like
it's like, I forget I actually have a real job.
Right.
It just so happens to be that my real job is in the same sphere, which I knew all that. I knew that I wanted to be in a car eventually, and I knew that by meeting all these people, I would be setting myself up to have a knowledge trust or resources to learn about these things and do it right.
Right.
Because what I've learned from my past experience is that you're only as good as the information that you have. If someone steers you down the wrong path, you're screwed. If you got good information and you listen to them, it's almost impossible to not succeed if you listen to somebody who has the right path.
Right. Exactly. And talk about that with race cars is, I say this a lot. People go like, well, why don't you just call so-and-so? They got a good setup for a racetrack, let's say. And I think you've experienced that now where it's more than just springs and shocks and weight. You know what I mean? You can't just say, okay, yeah, go set that car for this track or whatever and think that that's going to be good enough because it might not like your driving style. It may just be a totally different race car than what they've been working on before. So there is still a lot of that going on, which I think you're aware of now, that it takes learning it yourself pretty much and understanding it yourself, I think, especially if you don't have the CEO for a daddy who's putting you in there when you don't have to learn anything, but if you do have to learn it and you're doing it yourself like you do, you definitely got to learn a lot about it and do a lot of the things yourself pretty much. Yeah. I think you agree with that,
Yeah, definitely. Like in the beginning, like one of them that helped me out a lot was Mike Beam at GMS. Like and we haven't even done a video with Mike. I'm not even really sure how this happened or why. And I kind of realized after the fact that most of those guys in that generation came up and learning stuff through the guys before them. And they just did it because that's what they did.
Oh yeah. Mike, for sure. All those guys did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had, he had me bring my car up to GMS and all the guys that work there are guys who've been working on race cars for 30 years.
Right.
They're all hardcore veterans of different things. And so it was a
lot of knowledge there.
I learned so much about everything, anything I wanted to ask somebody about, there was somebody there who was an expert for it. And that's what really took my car from just being an old bush car to a competitive car.
Right. Yep.
Because at that time, I didn't quite understand how much changing, putting a round in, a round out, moving the track bar. I didn't know how any of that affected the car. So I didn't touch it from how it left the pull down at GMS on that first race at Newport.
Right.
I did not touch it at all. Not a single thing.
Right.
And it was pretty dang good for just just throw something in it and go.
Right.
But had I known what I know now, I think it's almost impossible to just unload your race car right off the trailer and not move the track bar at all.
Right.
I mean, the sun goes down and you got to do something to it. You have to change something all the time.
Right. Well, I think we learned that together, when you went to Tri-County, I thought that was pretty neat how, we brought the car here and pretty much helped you out on the setup a little bit, and there's not very many times I can go to a racetrack and ever not have to work on my car. You know what I mean? I think you realize that now after that weekend, that it's always fine tuning it all the way, always, and it was pretty cool seeing you that night, going from okay in the first race to you were moving on pretty quick in the second race. We made a couple of changes and I think you got confidence now that you maybe didn't have then about changing stuff. Now you realize what that track bar does and what the rounds do and whatever changes you make on it. And I think that's helps you to understand that it makes you a better driver. It makes you look like you can drive the wheels off of it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because I watched it that night, you did great. The second race, you were coming, and you passed the second place guy on the outside, and it just looked like if I didn't know any better, and I watched you run the first, part of the season when you first started racing, till then I would think it's either a different car or a different driver, and obviously it wasn't a different car, but it was. You know what I mean? It was the same car, but we made a lot of changes to it. Where now your confidence is up, and I say that to a lot of people that you can. There's good drivers out there, but you look at Kyle Busch, and the situation he's in now, and not that it's a bad situation, but it doesn't seem to be working out. And he's supposed to be one of the greatest drivers of all time, and you just can't drive something that you can't drive, that won't go fast, and you're not going to be the Kyle Busch or the Jimmy Johnson, or whatever, if you don't have the right stuff. And for you and I to get the right stuff, we have to do it ourselves, and understand it. So I think it's pretty cool too how much you've learned and how much you understand really what is going on in a short amount of time, because you understand exactly what's going on with camber gain and wedge and track bar up, track bar down. You know it now. Softer springs in the front, bigger springs in the front, whatever the case may be. I think it's pretty neat that you understand it that much.
Just learning how really that Tri-County experience, you showing me that and like making me drive it too tight at first. That really showed me, here's how I know for sure if my car is too tight or not.
Right.
Where before, I was kind of like, it's not loose, so it must be tight, right?
Right.
Or like, it's really, really not turning.
Right.
But what I didn't know is that there's like a whole realm before that is also too tight.
Right. Right, exactly. And then as a driver, you're driving it and all you're thinking about at the time is just making a lap. When you first start racing, when you're worried about making a lap, you're not really sitting down there and being a part of it and really feel the car and know what it's actually doing. And I think you caught on really quick doing that, real fast.
Yeah.
So, and you couldn't have done that if it would have been, your car would have been way off. You know what I mean? Because then you don't know where it's at. I wouldn't know where it's at or what to tell you to do to it to fix it, but we kind of understood each other on that deal. And I think you did a great job on being able to listen to what we were saying and doing it, and it showed, for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And speaking of all that, I know we kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, but what are your plans on this year? What are your plans you're going to do? Because I was hoping after watching you run Tri-County that you would continue on in your own car, doing whatever series you're going to do, whatever you're going to race in, because you showed yourself a lot of potential, and you showed a lot of others like you have a lot of potential, and I think your confidence is up now, and you know more about it, and you've run two good races. I've seen you run more than that, but I've watched you run two good races for sure, and I hate to see you not race anymore or whatever, so I hope you'll continue on, and not sure what your plans are for this year. What do you got going on?
I'm going to run some Super Cup races with my own car, same one.
Okay.
Chrissy's doing.
Yep.
I don't know which ones or how many. Just kind of find out what I can find the money to do. I might do some ARCA short track stuff. I'd really like to do that.
Right.
I mean, like at least one. I think it'd be cool. But again, it just comes down to finding the right people to do it with.
I'll tell you what happens, and you can. This is just some advice for me from what I'm saying, and just from what I've experienced in the past is you can probably run the Super Cup Series and run as many of those as you can in your own car, and you'll eventually, because you're already close to doing it anyway, you'll win races. And anytime you win races, no matter what series you're running, I don't care if it's go-karts or Millbridge out there running the sprint cars or whatever, if you're winning races, people are going to know you win races. They're going to hear Mitchell Stapleton won at Shenandoah, wherever you're going this week. And that'd be my advice, is do that, get a few more races under you, get to where you're winning or in potential to win, or in contention, and start winning races. And when that happens, you'll notice a lot of things will be different for you. And then you can go and you'll have opportunities that you never thought were there before. Just because if people are looking for winners, and no matter what you're racing, it's hard to win in anything. For me or anybody out there, any other Cup driver, you can't just go and jump out somebody else's series and win races. I don't care who you are. You gotta have the best stuff. You got to work on your stuff and get it right or whatever, or have somebody doing it for you. So my advice would be, I'd like to see you go out there and win races in your own car. And then if the opportunities come along for an ARCA ride or something like that, great. Some people jump into the ARCA thing or the Xfinity thing or whatever a little too quick. And then let's say they go rent a car or whatever because they don't have enough money to do their own stuff. And you pay $20,000 to $50,000, $100,000, whatever they pay a race. I'm not even sure what it is. And then you go out and you finish, 12th, 15th, or even 20th, or have a bad day and finish 30th, and then you're really frustrated. Then your confidence goes down, and it's just like it's hard to get out of that little slump there that you get into because you spend a lot of money and then you didn't, not because it could be a pit stop or anything go wrong. Just the finish didn't result in what you expected, and then next thing you know, you're like, man, I'm not sure if I want to do this because you don't have enough money to go to the next one, and vice versa. So hoping that you can take that and hopefully help you maneuver your way through the rest of your journey you got going on.
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, I got the car, so I'm going to use it as much as I can.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish, maybe I should have built a late model instead because I could have, go run closer places or more often. But at the time, I didn't think that I could package running a late model in a way that my existing audience would pick up on.
Right.
Because, well, these, this deal over here, wasn't Super Cup as the other one at that time, but they're running the same kind of older cars that I make stuff about already.
Right.
If I get one of these and make it look cool, and you gotta have the packaging right to get people to watch it.
Right.
And if I get people to watch it, then I can have a sponsor to do it.
Right.
Because I don't make enough to just run it out of pocket. Even then, doing Super Cup is exponentially cheaper than running ARCA or maybe anything else because these cars are just such, they're meant to run 500 miles.
Right.
And you could run the whole season on your car and do nothing but change your fluids and nut and bolt the thing, and it doesn't even care.
Right. Put a set of tires on every once in a while and go for it,
Yeah, I ran that Tri-County race on my old tires too.
Right.
I didn't even get new ones.
Right,
so,
exactly. And that says a lot for American Racer. The tire that they have is a really good tire for that series that you're talking about and the Super Cup series for sure, Yeah.
I mean, you look at that, and you look at an ARCA East race or something, and you look at the ARCA race, and there might be 20 cars in the field, but there's only 7 or 8 that are good.
Right.
And the rest of them get lapped on the third lap.
Right.
Then you look at a Super Cup race, and you're like, okay, there's 5 or 6 cars that are good.
Right.
And then 6 or 7 that get lapped on the second lap.
Right.
This is the same thing.
Right.
Except one costs this much, one costs that much.
Yeah. Well, here we're going to lead into another conversation here with you is, we were talking about, you didn't run a whole lot of races in the series that you were racing in last. And that's where we kind of met, through that. And, was just wondering, I know why we're not running in the series anymore. One that we ran in last year, and we won 2 championships actually. But I didn't understand what your goals were, or your intentions were of running this year and why you chose to run the Super Stock Series instead of the one you were running.
Well, I initially went to the one I was running because I didn't even really know about the other one at that time. I was exposed to that one because you were in it.
Right.
And I thought, and it was the same thing that, oh, I can go take my own car. That's the same old car that I already make videos about. And Jeremy's there. So then that adds accreditation to the whole operation. And that's, I mean, for anybody, that's like the ultimate measuring stick. Is I'm on the same racetrack as Jeremy Mayfield.
Right.
He moved Dale Earnhardt out of the way.
Right.
If I can keep up with that guy, I must be at least okay at this.
Yeah.
And it's just, it made it cooler. And the concept is great. But the rules just, they don't make any sense, really. Like, you're so far out of the box of what an old Cup car, an old Busch car, or like a Hooters Pro Cup car is, that I'm like, and these things, they're just turning into fat late models.
Right.
Or they're putting late model bodies on them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as a fan, you don't know the difference other than these class comes out, there's like 12 cars, half of them are slow, and the ones that are fast just look like slow late models.
Right.
That are louder.
Yeah.
They don't know that chassis was an old Cup car or whatever, but it's about for the fan experience. That's why my car was like faithful to the look.
Right.
Because
definitely.
It's what people want to see.
Right. It had the Dodge motor in it, and everything. So
yeah, and it's like, I don't know, the people who ran that kind of made the rules for themselves.
Right.
And they didn't even follow them.
Right.
Really.
And I can tell you this because I understood exactly what you're talking about. When I first started running that series, I thought it was more steel body cars, is what most of them were. And I know that a few weren't. A few were like Pro Cup cars, had the fiberglass bodies on them and everything. Well, so I got my old car back, bought it back and started running it. But one of the things we did last year was, for 25, was at the end of 24, I said, okay, we're going to build a car to their rules, exactly to their rules, and get by with everything I can get by with, because I'm a racer and that's all I know is you got to get the best you can out of everything you get. And that means the aero package all the way to the engine package, to the chassis, everything. So I set my goals last year in the winter of 24. So, okay, let's build us a race car. So we had a car already to start with, which belonged to Donnie, his car, the chassis, which was a 110-inch wheelbase car. It was originally a 105, but now it's a 110. And so we stripped it down to nothing and started to go to work. So we got the chassis all squared up where we wanted it. I put a bunch of camera in, because there's no rule against it, just like anybody else would. The motor was, the rule in the motor deal was your windshield bed to your center of your carburetor had to be 12 inches, right? That was the engine setback rule. So we're sitting there with a 110-inch wheelbase car, and the motor sitting where it would be on a 105.
Yeah.
So now I'm 5 inches back from where I was, but that's what the rules were,
Yeah.
And just like anybody else, we would have done that. So then we went to the engine department and said, okay, what style engine we're going to run? And we were able to get the funds to get a Yates spec motor, which the reason why we wanted it, because it's all aluminum.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a steel block. It's all aluminum motor engine. And so we went and got us a Yates engine, which was like 80 pounds lighter than what with the SP2 that was in there. So now it's, 80 pounds lighter, setting back 5 inches and, meeting all the rules. We met every rule there was. And then, we were told, well, you got to have 50% of your weight's got to be, can't have no more than 50%. No, you got to have a minimum of 50% nose weight. You can't run 49, 48, which would be more rear weight, because of the motor set back. So all that worked out. We built it by the rules, and we went out and the thing drove like unbelievable. It was fast all year, and we had a great year and won the championship. And it seemed like the whole year we were having to argue about rules. Measuring the spoilers to the ground, measuring the quarter pounds to the ground, and when there's not any height rules, anywhere available. I built it just like we should have built it, but I actually built it at 35, 36, and the roof height was like 49, I think, even higher than what it should have been. Well, every week they were measuring the car and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with the body. They just knew it looked funny, it looked different, looked weird, and it was. It just built to what they wanted. And it didn't look any different than the 75 car. Well, it did look a lot different, but it had the wild look like that car's got on it. And but it seemed like the whole year that we kept fighting that, just dishonest about everything. And, things went bad for us. Obviously our story, and I just didn't know exactly what yours was. I don't think that you got barred or suspended indefinitely for whatever reason. And my owner did and my teammate did. So I had no choice but now sit here and I can't race in that series, And I just wasn't for sure what your story was on that,
Well, I think this is not an uncommon thing to happen for anybody who's racing, but people are your friend when you're slow.
Yeah.
And then when you start becoming some sort of competition or get into that realm, they're not as nice.
Right.
Or at least that's my case. I've heard that story before. Now, I feel like if I came out one day with a Batmobile like your car and I was just as fast as you wouldn't change how you are because that's not who you are.
Right.
But that's not how everybody is. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
In this case, that was I got into that. And then,
and you're not the only one that I've seen or heard say that,
Yeah, I mean, I bought my car in March of 2023, and it was in an old garage of a Canaan East guy with half unfinished body. It was a little rusty. You had to build it. Well, from the way that series ran, by the time I bought it, to the time I got there, it was already going down. And I knew that after 2024, when the rules were, shown to be non-existent.
Right.
I'm like, man, this sucks, but I'm already committed.
Yeah.
Like I'm already committed financially to this car, and all my stuff is built around it. So I gotta do it. It just kind of sucked that when I got there, it was for like the last breath of a dying star that is imploded.
Yeah. Right.
Right. But it was ultimately what it boils down to is just like being professional.
Yeah.
I guess there's conflicts of interest. I mean, if there's only 6 or 7 cars in the lead lap, 4 of them shouldn't come from the place that makes the rules.
Right.
Who knows if they were actually meeting the rules?
Right.
We don't know. And I kind of wonder that because there were times where I had a pretty good car and I was pretty quick and I was faster than some of the house cars.
Right.
But it just felt like no matter what I did, it was just so far off from where like you and a couple other guys were. And then it's just kind of feel like, the deck is stacked.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really want me here.
Yeah.
They just want you there to make themselves look better.
Yeah.
It's their sandbox.
Yeah.
That's all it's for. It's like a little vanity project.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like.
Right.
It's that there's no long-term interest in the success of the series. It's all about what's in it for me.
Right.
Is how I felt about it. And then the way some of them handled situations, I saw what was happening with you guys the whole time. Or like even the same thing. Neither one of us knew when the driver's meeting was because they changed it and then had it without us and changed the format of the race. And then we go to get tires and there's only 3 left, 3 sets left.
And we have to get ours at the racetrack and not, or, a week before at the shop, you know what I mean? And you got to mount all your stuff at the racetrack, which we did the last race there.
Yeah, at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. We're mounting our own tires for both cars,
Yeah. Yeah. And then you go out there and, while they're doing my thing and I get hit in the back. It's like someone tried to wreck me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's the same guy who makes the rules. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So there were times during that season that I always treaded lightly because I knew what was going on. But it's the same thing as before is I'm here, I'm invested, I got to make the best of it. I mean, heck, in my first race at Newport, I was catching that car easily.
Yeah.
But I saw him take swings at the car in front of him. And I thought, if I go try to pass this guy in my first race ever, somebody with an ego problem is not going to like that.
Yeah.
And my car that I spent so much time on could end up in the wall because somebody has a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that. And it just kept going and going and going. And as I ran better, it got worse.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this stuff costs too much money, is too much effort.
Right.
To willingly subject myself to something that is not as fun as it should be relative to the investment being made through time and money and sweat and all that. And it was disappointing, really, because I sacrificed a lot on the YouTube side to be able to do this, and then to
help the series on the YouTube side.
Like all I wanted to do was see that thing do great, because I thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome if you just had a series that you could just run old cut and bush cars and short tracks that looked right, that had guys like you, Mike Wallace, come in, that just pop in and out. Normal guys could show up with their own car. Parts are easy to find relatively if you live here. I'm like, the concept was just awesome. The execution is just squandered at every turn.
I seen the same thing. I saw what was going on, and I hated it because I loved the series. I loved racing there. It was a lot of fun, but it was hard to deal with the stuff that went on, you know. And I watched your situation to be, and I appreciated you coming there and running. I mean, I like that. It's another car. You know, we've worked together. I helped you. You know, you helped me and everything else. And a lot of people don't see it that way. You know, and I don't understand that. I don't understand that way of thinking. You know, and the bad part about it was I feel like that just because you're not running there now because you chose not to. You know, we didn't have a choice. You know, you got a choice, and you're the bad guy. You know, and I'm the bad guy. I'm trying to figure out how that. First of all, I didn't get suspended. Yeah, I'm not suspended at all in that series. I can't run because my owner is, my teammate is, you know? But I don't understand how I'm sitting here today as one of the bad guys and you are too. You know?
It doesn't.
And all you did was just try to, you wanted to race and you love racing. You got your car and you went racing. And I didn't see you do anything whatsoever. Nothing. I tell you, you know that, you know, and I still don't understand what happened there on your deal. I really don't.
I don't either. Like, I don't either. And it is racking my brain for months. I was like,
what went wrong?
Where did this just go to crap? It didn't make any sense.
And I was watching the race Saturday night, and there was a couple of fans that made comments, said, where's Mayfield and where's Stapleton? I'm sitting there thinking to myself, where are we? You know what I mean? What happened? You know? And it just amazes me how that I guess you either want a series to work as an owner of the series, or you want your cars to run fast. And I think that got in the way of the growth of the series, you know, and then becoming more popular and more people want to get involved in it. And I can tell you now that there's probably a lot of people that's not going to get involved in it now, you know. And it's just a shame because, you know, they lost car counts and, you know, things have changed over there. You know, a lot of things have happened and probably won't ever be able to recuperate from the blow they had Saturday night, you know. But it's a shame, but the good thing about it is that we do have the Super Cup series that we're all going to compete in now, you know, and looking forward to you. I won't be there, but looking forward to you going up there Friday night and Saturday and having a good run, and anything we can do to help you, you know, I'll be there to help you and whatever you need, you know. I know Chrissy's excited about coming up there, and she's going to be our next guest on here, and we'll be able to talk to her about her situation too on that, you know, and give her side of the story and go from there, you know. But hopefully that series, and it seems to me that it's starting to grow. They're getting more cars and they're getting a lot more interest in it.
The Super Cup.
And they're going to Hickory, North Carolina now to race there at Hickory, and Tri-County, which they went last year, Tri-County, and Carteret. They're going to Carteret now. So I mean, there's a lot of potential there yet to go that you can still run your car and actually be closer to the rules than what the other series was.
You know, I think there's a reason that the Super Cup's been around for 19, 20 years. I think this is their 20th season. And that's, you know, you don't survive 20 seasons by, you know, being goofy. And what really put the nail in the coffin for me is when they added that extra race to the end of their season at Tri-County. And I went and ran that, and just how much fun it was. The vibe in the pits was just better. Like, it's not...
You didn't feel like that everybody there was against you.
I always felt like I had to be looking over my shoulder somewhere. Somebody's waiting to, you know, pull one over on me at any turn. But over there, it was just like, you know, the guy who runs it doesn't have a car. He's there for the the betterment of the series.
What's funny is he does have a car. He does have a car in the race, but he keeps it totally separate. He doesn't care when they're at the racetrack. He separates it totally. And he doesn't go around the car. He doesn't care what the car does. The guy that drives or nothing is totally separate. That's why you didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Yeah, which is the right thing to do, And he would even, I feel like he would pull for the guy that finished second behind his car, and move his car out of first place first, instead of, he'd look for if somebody had something happen, the top two or whatever, he'd be more for not his car, your car, mine, whatever, I feel like that's just the way he would do things. So it wouldn't be a no bias decision or anything like that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And they actually do enforce the rules.
Right.
More. They're different rules that are more in line with, you could take a car that had been in a garage since its last Busch race in 2007.
Right.
And run the thing, and it's good. You don't have some crazy tread width or anything. You're not trying to butcher the thing into a late model to keep up. And
that's one reason why I can't run my car there. You know what I mean? My car's totally illegal for there. But just because I built it to one series rules versus the other, and that just tells you the difference in them.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised going through that of how competitive I was whenever cars actually meet the same rules that mine is.
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't say anything more about that. But if everybody's met the same standards, it's like less of an issue was me than I thought it was. I thought I was the problem in some cases, but it wasn't. Right.
Well, I'm sure that's why you're excited about going this weekend too.
Yeah,
confidence is up, and you can't wait to get there. But anyway, I hear my dogs racing came behind us in the background. So if fans hear that, that's too many dogs. But
what I'd like to say about all this and my own journey and leave people with, especially younger people out there who think, well, I'm not this or I'm not that. I can't do this or that.
Right.
I did.
Right.
I got to the other side of the fence.
Right.
Somehow, just by taking it one step at a time.
And nothing happened overnight either. That's why a lot of people are so impatient that they think, well, the only way to get there, you get tomorrow. I got to go tomorrow. No, it's not going to make it like that. And you got a story as prime of that.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah,
it's been 10 years.
Yep.
Actually, a little more than that, because 10 years ago now, I already had a supercharger on my Escalade.
Right.
So it's been more like,
and you've been doing this the whole time, just working your way to the top, and you didn't even realize that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's wild. You knew from your gut to make those decisions to go the right place.
Yeah.
Back to those shootings.
It's always the shootings.
Yeah, always a shooting.
It's because I think that if you have the ability to do something, you need to do it. Because I don't want to be, when I was like 17, 18, I used to drive my grandma. Like, I go to her house like 45 minutes away and pick her up, bring her to the house for, holidays or whatever. And I got to know her a lot better because I spent a lot of time around her.
Yeah.
And she would tell me things that she wouldn't tell other people. And she's, just out of the blue one day, we're going on the highway, and she said, I always felt like I could have done so much more with my life.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't take this the wrong way or anything, but I love you, love your dad and your cousins and sister and all that, but I never should have married your grandfather. Because after that, I just never felt like I could have done more with myself. And I just thought, damn.
And those were good words to tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, that changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I thought, 1, I never want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
2, I understand why she's so cranky all the time.
Yeah.
3, if she thinks her whole life was squandered, now I'm here. It's my job to make sure that wasn't.
Right.
Because I can do something with mine that exists because
of hers. Of what she's done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that and all the other people that, how are you supposed to know what you're capable of if you don't see somebody who looks like you do it first?
Right. Yep.
So I feel called or obligated to do as much as I can.
Oh, yeah.
As good as I can.
Right.
To show somebody else that I may never even meet.
Right.
Thousands of miles away that can change everything.
Right. And I think that's what your videos show, why people are attracted to what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because you show that. You got a passion for it, and all your videos showing history, and you're making a great mark on the sport. I think you've helped it a ton, and someday you're grandmother will be proud of you if she's not already. I'm sure she is anyway, but you'll make a mark in her life where she can say, okay, that's what I did. That's what I contributed to. I would say,
Yeah. Yep. She's not around anymore, but
right.
I know she knows.
Right. That's the main thing. And yeah, people go through that, that you don't want to disappoint her. You want her to feel like she did the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure she very well knows that now, I'm sure she'd be proud of you.
Yep. So all you can do is what you can do. And someday I'll be in a hole in the ground and
right.
a name on a rock or on a screen. Someone's looking at Ancestry 300 years from now and they think, oh, I'm related to that guy. Cool.
Right.
Like
somewhere down the line, you'll have cousins everywhere,
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it too is what you're doing will last forever. You ever thought about that?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, what you're doing on your stuff and what you're passionate about is going to be on there forever. One day, it can be, well, hopefully, unless YouTube blows up or something like that. But I mean, or Instagram or whatever. But your videos will be on there forever, right?
Yeah, it's a snapshot of the world,
right? And look at the history you've shown already. The things that I think is cool. You had one of our guests that's coming on this week, Daryl Andrews, on your show.
Oh, really?
Man, I love him. He's awesome, and can't wait to get him on here and tell his stories and just listening to him. Don't you just love listening to all that?
Oh, he's
the Junior Johnson days and the stories they had. It's just unbelievable.
He's America.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
People like him made America.
Yeah,
the best place in the world.
And for you having him on that show, I don't think you realize what you've done for him. You know what I mean? I mean, I know that Daryl's a great, awesome guy. I love him to death, and I know that he's proud of that video for sure. Has to be, because all of his buddies are calling him and talking to him about it, and and like me, I didn't know he had all them trucks like that. Known him for years, but he knows a lot of people and a lot of stuff. I think it's pretty cool. You've had a lot of other people in there like the same way.
Yeah, I always feel like going into a video, my job is to make this person look like the coolest person in the world.
Right.
That's my job is make them happy, and then the viewers happy because they learn something. It's always value driven, and then I'm happy because it moves the wheel forward and enables me to keep doing it and keep paying my bills. And I'm in one of those weird situations where everything I do it's all part of the same engine.
Well, like when I talked to you the other day, when going back to this again, when you said you were with Fur and y'all were over at the Stapleton Brothers shop, which was my shop when I was my own team, and Tony and I raced out of there, and that was in 09, and just happened to make a phone call, and all of a sudden you're with Tony Fur over there. It's just amazing how things work like that.
Yeah.
And here you are today, here on our show.
Yeah, you got to get Tony in here.
I know. I'm going to. That's what our whole show wants to be about. Is I don't really care about all the new stuff going on and all that. I want stories like DA, Tony Fur. We're gonna have Todd Parrott on here. Todd's got a lot of stories to tell. We're gonna have a lot of people on here that's coming up that I feel like that's what the world want to hear. It's not totally history. It is history, but it's not all the way back, to museums, things like that. But it's a lot of stuff that people never got to hear.
Yeah.
And that you hear it every time you do one. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's why I like doing it, because you listen to these things, or I listen to them on Dale Jr.'s show, and those are, whether they knew it or not, all of those are a guidebook where you can take bits and pieces of lessons of other people's life stories and apply them to yours.
Right.
That's all I am, is a conglomerate of all the things I've absorbed.
Right. Exactly.
Over the years.
That's the way to look at it right there. You're right. And, I seen, I know Gary Blue hadn't done very well, but I watched his show you did with him, Blue and all those guys, and that's just what I like. I think people want to hear that, especially the old school fans and the ones that are not really up on what NASCAR is today or whatever. They want to see what really made the sport. And that's what you've been doing, and hopefully we can do that in some sort of way. So
yeah, I think you can. You got a great setup in here.
Yep. Well, thank you.
It's freaking cool.
Yeah, we're proud of it, and we're going to make it better and try to keep doing it. This obviously is our third episode, I think it's going to be, and we got a long way to go to where we want to be, but we're doing our best, and having someone like you on here today is certainly going to help. And I know we're going to have a lot of things we can make better along the way, and we're going to try to do that. So
they're just like taking a race car off the trailer. You're not going to just go out there and run it right away.
Right.
You got to put some wedge in this thing and move the track bar around until it starts working right.
And yeah, that's right. And we'll talk about all that here after we get done too, about your car this week. And I got some ideas that might help you there too. So, but anyway, thank you for coming, man. Can't thank you enough. I think it's awesome to have you on here first. And just want to, anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome. If we can do anything for you, let us know. And tell your lovely bride to be we said hey, and I know she's a big part of your life and a big part of your whole story, and look forward to seeing y'all again.
Yeah, well, she's back home sanding drywall. So.
Sanding drywall. I figured that.
Yeah,
and that's something else I want to say before we go is Logan is his right hand man, I guess you'd say, right? Pretty much. I say she's a lady, obviously, but does a lot for you. I think she's pretty cool and 110% believer in you, and she does a lot of hard work. And y'all kind of meet that teammate type deal. You're a perfect teammate together, and I think it's cool to see that.
Yeah.
So
it is. She's old school too. Does a lot of stuff, the old ways. She's interested in the old stuff, and we work well that way. We both believe in the same things.
I'll never forget seeing you in the car. You'd be in the car in practice, and she's over there changing tires or getting tires mounted. I seen her roll wheels to the tire barn and all that stuff, and I think it's pretty neat. Pretty good you two do that together. So that's good. All right, buddy. Thank you for coming on. Or anything else you'd like to say or let the folks know? I think today was a great day for people that didn't know you. I think they know a lot of you now. So
say this: hit subscribe.
That's right.
It doesn't cost anything. It's just a follow button. You got to say that because people think subscribing is like.
Yeah, please subscribe because I know Mitchell's already got his subscribers up there pretty good, and we're working on ours. And anytime you can do that, it just helps the purpose and continues us to be able to do what we're doing here today and be able to talk to people like Mitchell. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Man, that was an awesome episode with Mitchell Stapleton. His story runs a lot deeper than expected, I guess. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I never really knew Mitchell very well. I know him now quite a bit, but I didn't know what his background, where he came from. So it was really interesting today to hear the way that everybody gets their own way of doing things, and they get to where they want to be in life just by how circumstances and opportunities that come along. And I never realized that that's how Mitchell finally got to North Carolina. He's went through a lot, it seemed like, and
a lot of forks in his road.
Yeah,
I mean, he could have been doing
he could have
10 or 20 other things in 10 or 20 different places, and somehow
that's what always amazes me is how people don't really realize every single day, every opportunity, every decision you make can depend on where you're going to be in 10 years from now, 5 years from now. And it could be happening right now tonight, and we don't even know that, and that's something that's kind of, happened today that sets us up for tomorrow, which sets us up for the next day. And that's kind of what his story was, and I keep going back to when they heard the gunshots, what he was saying and going, man, what if you hadn't left that day? And don't tell him where he'd be, so that's pretty wild. And
a butterfly effect.
Yeah. And for him to end up here in North Carolina after all that, and I thought it was pretty cool. And to hear him talk about his dad didn't want him to do anything and all that stuff. And you hear that quite a bit. And most of the time when people are successful, they come up that way. Mm-hmm. They either don't have the money to do anything or they're not able to do what they love to do, but they figure out a way to do it. Yeah. And that's a good example right there of what Mitchell's done.
I think I admire the fact that, after everything he's been through, he's now found this career path, I guess, where he's getting to hang out with these legends of the sport.
Right.
Getting to do this incredibly unique sort of podcast-like style video, but also getting to see all this cool stuff and, making a living off of it. I think that's so awesome. And
And now being able to live his dream by driving a race car and
he really is living the dream of a lot of kids growing up.
Yeah, and something else that wasn't said very much today, but his girlfriend Logan is just unbelievable, man. She supports him 110%, and they just make a great couple, mm-hmm. and they complement each other and really work together well. And I think she's probably a big part of his success, just by when you got somebody there that's got your back. And she does have his back, and that supports you like she does. That's pretty amazing. And my wife's the same way. Shane's the same way with me. And I know that that's very important of getting where you want to be in life is having that support that somebody, for sure has got your back no matter what.
I was thinking the exact same thing you just said, about Shayna, mm-hmm. And how she's been like your rock and stuck with you through everything. And, this this is her life too. You know, everything you
Right.
went through, she went through the same thing.
Oh yeah.
So I think from what I've seen in Mitchell's videos, Logan is the one for him.
Right.
Um,
Oh yeah, and to travel down, you know what they did to come from Texas or wherever and end up here, you know.
yeah, and the gunshots.
Yeah, the gunshots, that does it every time, but pretty
Well,
amazing.
I guess it's time for Q&A.
Yep.
So
look
we got to
forward
go
that.
get Shayna.
Oh yeah, this will be exciting.
Yeah, we'll you know, this episode hadn't been long enough, so we're gonna get some questions in here
for sure.
All right.
All right, so our first question today is from Shane, and he wants to know, is there a young driver that reminds you of a young you? Like, have you seen a driver out there racing that reminds you of a young you?
Let me think about that for a second. I'm not sure. I mean, there's a lot of good young drivers running right now, you know. They're racing and I don't really know of a lot of young drivers. You know, that I know a lot, you know.
I thought about that one too. I was like, it's kind of a cool question, but then we don't really
I can't think of one.
watch a lot.
You know?
You watch a lot, Trevor. Is there anybody
Yeah.
that reminds you of Jeremy?
I've thought about this very question before,
Right.
and I really genuinely can't think of a single guy that reminds me. I think probably, honestly, would Chase Elliott would probably be the closest one.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a good
Just
comparison.
just his mannerisms and the way he
Right.
goes about things.
Right.
Like,
That's
I feel
a
like
great compliment.
That's cool.
I feel like that's really the only one I can think of. He's a real Southern boy too.
I was
Right.
going to say there's
Right.
not a lot of Southern guys really that
Right.
Yeah,
or that don't say their L's
yeah.
like you guys from Kentucky.
Don't say her else.
No, you say instead of cold, it's goad.
It's
and
cold,
code.
gold,
Code.
gold.
Gold.
How you say it?
And then Trevor says he looked at the hoe yard.
Hoe
instead of
yard.
har-
Hoe
yard.
Hoe yard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yard.
The hoe yard.
Yeah. We don't need those
Oh.
unnecessary letters.
We don't
Yeah.
need unnecessary.
We don't.
Why waste your energy on those
Right.
letters? They're pointless. Well, that's a good one. I would have said that too. I think if I had to choose. All right, Shane, great question. Got our wheels turning here.
Yeah.
All right, this one, this is from Chris. He says, Bristol 95 night race. You ran really well in Kale's car. How much of a disappointment was it to be wrecked? Do you remember that race?
I remember a little bit of it. I remember the first time I drove Bristol in Kale's car, and it was, I think it was the old Bristol where it was just asphalt, you know, not the concrete. That's the one he's talking about. And I don't think I ran very good in that one because I remember running about 200 laps into it, and my head had already just fell over like this, and I couldn't lift my head up like that. That's how my neck could just give out because back then we didn't have hardly any headrest or nothing, you know. And
And you weighed all of like 150 pounds.
oh yeah, I weighed 150 pounds, and I can remember driving and just my head was laid over, and I was like, oh my god, I literally could not even make myself raise my head up. So a caution came out, and I thought, thank God, you know. And I'm trying to hold it up. I'm like, what am I going to do? You know, Kale was there on the pit road and on the pit box. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't come in.
No.
You know, I can't say I'm not going to make it. What am I going to do? I'm going to drive like this. I guess I'll learn how to drive my head laid over. And it's weird driving like that, especially Bristol. You got all the down, you know, all the G-force and stuff. So down straightaway you're up. Corners, it would just lay over like this. And I forgot what I did, but I remember lap 2, about 200 when the caution came out. I thought, man, it's got to be about over because we've run our ass off all night. I mean, just race. And I looked at the scoreboard and it was 200. We still had like 200 laps to go, I think, whatever the night race was there, 400 laps or 500. I think it was 500. And we weren't even halfway. I thought, what in the hell am I going to do? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Career path.
Yeah, and then then I thought, I can't say nothing. You know, can't tell nobody on the radio, oh, I can't hold my head up, Kel. You know, he had his little short neck. You know, he never had that problem, so I wasn't going to be his problem.
Yeah,
you know?
that Newman neck.
Yeah, and so I remember I was like, the only thing I can do is relax, and that's when I learned about you just got to sit in the car and just take a deep breath and fall into it. And I learned the hard way, but I learned how to, you know, you can't fight it. If you fight it, you'll be fatigued so fast in those cars, or the way they used to be anyway, because we got fumes and all that stuff coming in back then, and
You didn't get a stage break.
right, carbon monoxide. Yeah, there was no stage breaks, and you know, and
How was
half
it
times and all
fitting
that
the
shit.
seats back then? I mean, was it different than it is nowadays? I mean,
Oh,
was
yeah.
that a problem with it? I mean,
Oh yeah, no, the seats were terrible.
yeah.
I mean, they were just aluminum seats, but Kale had it worse than I did. You know, and all them had it worse. And Earnhardt always used the worst seat you can ever imagine. You know, and
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't even. I only think we had the left side headrest at that time. I know we didn't,
Yeah.
and we had one little right one. Might be a little piece of bent aluminum up here that your head would fall under if you ain't careful. And then you're going down straight away and it's underneath of it. And you can't lift it up. You don't know what's holding it down, So yeah, that's how bad it was. But the seats were just unbelievable wrong. They just weren't. They
and
weren't,
you don't know until you're 200 laps in Bristol and you're
right. Well, they fit you good and stuff. Like you could get them, where they fit and put padding in them and all that stuff. But I'm just saying, for a safety point of view, back then they weren't safe at all. And the way they were in the cars and stuff. And unfortunately, it took myself. I had a bad wreck in Indy, and changed the way my seat was made at the time. But more of a wraparound headrest and all that stuff. And Randy LaJoy came along, and about that time, when everything was starting to change, and then Earnhardt had his problem, and so things changed a lot after about that time, 95, 96, 97. But when Earnhardt had his problem, that's when 2000, I'm going to say, when it really took off,
Yeah.
And not just seats, but the belts, way their belts are mounted. A lot of guys had their belts mounted wrong. Wasn't even in the right angle. For as far as safety goes, the shoulder mounts, they'd be way high running downhill. Just a lot of things were wrong with just everything, really.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we're probably going to get into at some point on this show is safety, because I've seen a couple of your helmets. There's one up there on the top shelf that's with a big crack in the top from where you smashed your head against the steering wheel is what I heard.
That's what, when you hear somebody say, well, they might have a possible concussion, you know what I mean? There's no such thing as maybe have a possible concussion. You either got one or you don't, and a bad one's when you're knocked out and don't know where you're at and wake up and all you remember is 3 or 4 weeks from now, ago, So you don't know what you did in the last 3 weeks, how you acted, what you did, or anything. It's kind of like you just lost time there. But yeah, that certainly has changed a lot this day and time, it looks like, and I'm glad it has. So.
Yeah. How long did it take you a while to get over that Bristol race? Were you
Well,
exhausted?
Yeah, you were. Well, the fumes is what got everybody back then, because we had exhaust leaks and just you sweating all the time and dehydrated, and we didn't know anything about staying hydrated. And I learned a lot from all that, about how to do that. But it would take at least 3 or 4 days to get over it, and you might be peeing again about Wednesday, and you're drinking everything you drink and just staying hydrated for the next race. But then, unfortunately, carbon monoxide gets in your system and it doesn't just go away.
No.
Unless you do oxygen. And back then, nobody thought about that. They just ran like hell. And then next week, you go back and you get it again. And the next thing you know, you're just, full of that. And then you got to get oxygen and IVs and everything else. So,
right.
But that was a great race. I remember that. Good question.
All right. Our next one is actually from Jeremy. To Jeremy. He said, what is the most important change you would like to see in the sport of NASCAR, and please explain?
Man.
He's saying the most important change.
I would say probably the most important would be somewhere down the line or up the line, whatever you want to say. I don't know if I can just say one change is important, because there's a lot of important ones that probably need to be changed. And I'm not the one really that needs to be deciding what important change is, but I'll answer your question. And that would be probably to figure out what went wrong. That'd be my question. If I had to ask anybody in the leadership of NASCAR in one room, I'd be like, where do you think it all went wrong? Because something's wrong, and they can say what they want about me saying it, but if something's wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, you looked at the stands yesterday in Bristol, and they were nobody was there, and you just look around, and if you can't see that there's a problem, and you don't want your ego or whatever it is, or get in the way of making changes back to where. I'm not saying go back to where they used to be a long time ago, but if you look back, whatever you were doing then worked. Something was working, and it doesn't seem like it's working anymore. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be hard. I can't just tell you one change on a car or what I do.
Do you think it's like leadership change? Do you think it's more them not being a family-owned business, private, or do you think it's more of like the race car that needs to be changed?
I would say this. I would say that I'd go back and say, okay, when were they successful? When it was at the peak of its time, and we all know about when that was. Mm-hmm. And then I'd go, okay, if I took over then, right after that, when it's at its peak, and you put me in the leadership role of the NASCAR thing, and I took it and just ran it straight downhill. Every change I made was wrong. Every decision I was making was wrong, and I let money and I let greed and I let
you go.
ego get in the way, and everybody around me would agree with me because they're afraid I'm going to fire them. You know what I mean? So everybody around you is telling you, yeah, you're doing the right thing. Yeah, it's perfect. Yes, and yes. Well, no, it didn't work. And I'd rather hear that than I would hear the yes, while you're going sinking ship. So I would go back and I'd say, if they put me in that position and I ran it straight downhill, how long would I be there?
Not long.
Right. How long would I be the president of NASCAR? Probably about 2 months. You know what I mean? Or about 3 races, and I'd be fired if I'd made changes that they've made over this time.
Yeah.
And you look at the period of time, and nobody's stupid anymore. You can get on the computer and learn anything you want to learn. And get on AI, and it'll tell you everything. And all you got to do is go in there and ask it a few questions. What happened to NASCAR?
Yeah.
It'll tell you. And then you say, what would you do different? Well, it'll tell you what you should probably do different.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they do that. And I'm not knocking anybody, the leaders of NASCAR, whoever they are. I just know that if any other company out there was going in the wrong direction like that all the fans are saying they're going,
Mm-hmm.
and the seats are showing it in the stands, I don't know how long that the leadership should be there.
Yeah, I feel like the fans weren't always so pessimistic about changes. The fans would get excited about change. I was just watching it's Bristol week, whenever we're recording this.
Yeah.
And I was watching the first ever Car Tomorrow race in 2007 and watching, I think it was Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane coming to the green. The stands are packed.
Right.
They're there. They want to see, they're
Right.
positive about this change, and then obviously it didn't go well.
Right.
But, now they have a whole load of reasons to be pessimistic about everything going
Right.
on.
Everything.
But they used to be more positive. I mean, they packed the house for a Car Tomorrow race in
Right.
Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You're right.
And that was probably the beginning of the end right there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But the fans gave them a chance.
Right.
They packed the show out.
Man, the race fans are still there. They didn't go anywhere, and I hear it all the time. Hear it every day, just about. Somebody's complaining about it. I don't watch it anymore. Don't want to be a part of it anymore. And I'm tired of going, well, how come? Why? That's all you got to do, and they'll tell you all the same thing. You know what I mean? Now the new thing is when you ask fans, or they tell you how they used to watch racing, and why don't they anymore? And this is recently. It's because, we feel like it's rigged. We feel like they know who's going to win. We feel like this, And how do you disagree with that? How do you? I mean, I'm sitting there, they ask me, well, is that stuff rigged? I'm like, what do you say? You say no, because it sure looks like it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looks like something, and it almost looks like too, like it's scripted. I hear that. Oh, it's scripted. They know who's going to win every race. This, that, and the other, whatever. And they usually whatever story is that week that goes on, it's usually you can pretty much tell who's going to be up front that week.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. That's not a good. You can't do that at an IHRA late model stock car race. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You don't feel like one bit of it is scripted, or they know who's going to win, or nothing, favoritism, nothing.
Yeah.
We had 37 cars the first race, and it was like, hell, anybody could have won it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's good old short track racing that. I don't know. You think you'd go. I mean, it sounds simple, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Late model stock car racing, and bringing that many cars, and it's that competitive and that good of racing,
Yeah.
But not once did I feel like, they're playing favorites, or I know who's going to win this race.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know. So, and that's that way across the country. But then you get to the elite, the top of the line, where the elite is supposed to be, and it doesn't look that way. So I rambled on too long here. So
It's okay.
It was a good it was a good ramble.
Well, I'll just kind of piggyback off that question since we got to kind of started talking about NASCAR
Right.
and leadership. Billy wants to know, have you had any recent chats with NASCAR?
I really haven't had would you say a recent chat?
Yeah, recent chat.
Well, I've tried. I actually sent Jim France a email that nobody really knows about. I haven't said anything to anybody, but you knew it, probably about 2 months ago, and basically just wanted to. I mean, all I really wanted was to talk to him about everything that went on, because I haven't talked to nobody about it. Not yet. Not Brian, not Mike Helton, not Jim France, nobody. They probably don't care. What am I to them? nobody, you know. So, but what I felt like was, felt like I'd reach out to them one more time and say, hey, can I at least talk to you about what happened, or not even what happened? Let's just move forward. Let's move on. Where I don't have
You're
to.
just kind of want closure.
Yeah, and just, you know, I'd like to be able to go to a NASCAR race. You know, why can't I?
Yeah.
You know, and if they don't want me to drive anymore, we say obviously don't. That's fine too. I'm good with that. But we could clear this all up and then make them look just as good as it would me, and say, okay, we'll reinstate you, get your whatever license to come to a track, and you can watch, you know, go in the garage area, watch the races, whatever you want to do, and go to the local short tracks, you know, that are NASCAR sanctioned. And that's all I was wanting to talk to him about. And to this day, I can check my emails now, but I haven't gotten nothing back. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it's been, you know. And then they wonder why that it all escalated like it did and got to the point it did, and got me where I'm at, you know, as far as the way I'm talking about them all the time, you know, and being defensive on it, and you know, not really. Why would I? Why would I sit here today and go, it's the greatest thing, greatest sport ever was? Well, I don't have a reason to say that.
Yeah.
But I would if he would at least talk to me, you know, send me an email or something, or call me or something, you know.
I think after almost 20 years, you deserve at least that.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and if I don't, that's cool too, you know. And that's like O'Donnell, who's president now, and he was there when all that went down with me, and he knows what happened, what went on, and you think that we could at least talk about it, you know. And
yeah, I think if NASCAR is really trying to show that they're up for change, I think a public reinstatement, I mean, you know, you don't have to call it that, but of, you know, a guy like you would show a lot of fans that they're, you know, open for change, and that they admit that, you know, some of the things that happened in the last 15 years were wrong.
Right. And it doesn't look like that it's anywhere on their radar as far as I'm concerned, you know, where I stand with them. But
and you could sit here and talk trash about them for 2 hours every week on the show, but you don't.
Right.
You know?
And there's a lot of stuff I have never said, you know, that I've seen, that I've witnessed, and I've, you know, right in front of my own eyes, you know, and that I know, you know, and I've never released it to anybody, you know, and I'm hopefully don't want to ever do that, you know.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be good for anybody. It wouldn't be good for me or them or anybody. So, you know, and I haven't done that, but you would think that they would at least give me a little bit of courtesy and go, well, wait a minute, he's not dead. I didn't die, which I should have, based on what the results showed. And
you still have your teeth.
You
haven't aged that much.
Right. A little bit, but not much. But and that's all I was wanting, to just closure with them, you know, and I'm going to keep trying. Probably I'll try one more time, and with Jim and Steve, you know.
And I think it's hurtful too. Like, you give so much of your life to something, and we're, quote, family, and then you just turn your back on somebody that's given you so much for so many years. That's the hard part, because you're like, okay, I'll try one more time. Because you just want that, you know, resolved, and them to be like, oh, well, this guy did do a lot for us, and, you know, let's at least communicate. So it just kind of, it's more of a dagger, I think it feels like. Worse.
You have an unconditional love for the sport, so you keep going back to it.
Yeah.
Trying.
I mean, it was his whole life forever.
That's all I know, you know. And, you know, and maybe I shouldn't go here with this, but I will, is, you know, it wasn't long after what happened to me, you know, however you want to look at that, and you look at that, and then you see what happened to Brian France. Okay, and that's about his 4th or 5th, 6th time. He's been in trouble for that. J.C. France, Jim's son, same way, been in trouble, and but they forgave them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that was a lot worse than what I'd ever done. You know what I mean, and whatever, but. I don't know. It was just something.
Yeah, if you look back at the case, they weren't willing to make any sort of changes, or anybody step down until things were said and things were released.
Right.
So, you know, maybe sometime in the future, you'll have to rethink whether you do or don't want to say, you know, these things you haven't said, because maybe
I think about
sometimes that's the only way things can change.
Right. Well, you know, and I heard from somebody the other day, kind of a person I hadn't been around in a while and don't necessarily want to be around, but kind of sent me a message saying, oh, there's people coming around and from NASCAR, you know, wanting to do some kind of documentary or some kind, I don't know what he meant by it, And my answer to that, my response was, who am I? That I'm the least of their worries. You know what I mean? And I realize that they got a lot more going on than worry about me. You know, but if that ever happened, then I would open up and say what I had to say. You know, and don't want to do that, obviously. But anyway, we can move on.
Okay. Yeah, let's lighten the mood here a little bit. Let's get to something else. Okay.
You still drink Coors Light, Jeremy? That's the next question.
Well,
No, that was
maybe
That was last time, yeah.
5 a year, maybe something like that.
All right. This next one is from Steven, and he wants to know, what was it about Pocono that suited your driving style?
Man, I don't know. I remember going, like, my first time to Pocono, and I ran an ARCA car. And I remember driving around it, and it just seemed like, I don't know, I just caught on to it real quick, you know, and it's something that I just loved the place, and had a lot of help, you know, like I was, you know, young enough that I could go and I still knew a lot of people in the NASCAR garage here at that time. So when I started, you know, figuring all these people out, and Bobby Hamilton was a good friend of mine, and he, you know, I'd go to a lot of those guys and ask them, man, how you get around here? You know, so I got a lot of support, and from a lot of people, Donnie Allison, you know, Bobby Hamilton, just Sterling, all those guys, you know, and if you take a little bit from what every one of them tells you, and you use it and you apply it, and you really make sense, and you really listen to them and want to learn, and I think that's what helped me throughout my whole Cup career. All the Cup races I ever ran was just being, you know, having the people that would spend time with me and say, hey, you know, you go through the tunnel turn, you know, that's where you make up all your speed, you know, and you got to get off turn 3 really good. If you overdrive getting in, you're not going to get good speed coming off with a long straightaway, you know, and all that stuff made sense to me. So I just applied everything that I've heard, you know, to that not only Pocono, but everywhere I went.
Yeah. You probably should have had a couple Indy wins too.
Oh yeah, sure.
Pretty similar track.
Yeah, we run good at Indy several times, and really good one time, and then, you know, we didn't race, but yeah, I wish that would have worked out. That'd been cool.
You didn't really have any bad tracks though. Like you,
Right.
I mean, I feel like you ran pretty good everywhere we went, but
Yeah, there's some I dreaded, just like, well, like
Martinsville.
Yeah,
Martinsville, yeah.
And I like Martinsville. When you're good at Martinsville and you qualify good, and you think you got it all figured out, it's great. But once you don't, you show up and you don't have it figured out, and you miss your setup.
Long.
Man, it's the longest day ever, and it can be bad. And I don't think it's that way much anymore. But back then, it was. You start going laps down to Martinsville, it's a race from hell, really. You know.
Would you rather be laps down at Martinsville or Bristol?
They're both about the same.
Yeah, 500 laps.
Oh yeah.
They shortened the Cup race to 400
Right.
laps down at Martinsville.
Right, I know. And back then, man, that was a lot of laps. A lot of laps, a lot of racing, no segments, no breaks, no timeouts and overtimes and all that.
No cool suits.
Right, no cool suits, yeah. No cool shirts or nothing else. And so yeah, it was tough, but, you know, it's what makes you what you are, you know.
All right, we'll finish this one from Elliot. And he says, kind of a long one. It says, Brad Keselowski was the guest host on a recent Dell Jr. Download episode. In it, he recounted a story of getting called to the hauler in late 2008, and Brian France unexpectedly intervened to save him from an ass chewing by Mike Helton and company. In your career, did you ever get called to the hauler, and if so, for what, and what came of it?
Yeah, most of the time when you got called to the hauler, it wasn't good. And I mean, sometimes it wasn't bad, but there was a couple times I got called there, and one was we had an issue with our fuel in Talladega.
Oh God, I remember that.
Yeah, and that wasn't a good feeling.
That was a big penalty.
Oh
That
yeah,
was huge.
we not only got called to the hauler, but we got.
You were like to the Charlotte office too.
Oh yeah,
weren't
they
you?
showed up at our shop, and Mike Helton and all those guys did, and it was a bad deal. And another time was when Buster called me to the hauler. I got to the racetrack one morning. It was after Loudon, New Hampshire, and I think I told y'all the story, maybe. And we raced Loudon, New Hampshire.
Oh, and you
initially.
threw the debris out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
And,
remember
you
that.
didn't tell it on here though, did you?
No,
I thought
but-
you did.
But I will. I'll go ahead and tell
Oh
you.
yeah, go ahead.
So when I got to the track, they said, Buster needs to see you at the hauler. I thought, really? I wonder what that's all about, you know? They said, I know. As soon as you get here, you need to go over there. So I went over there, and he's sitting in his chair, you know, and it was
love him.
before practice. And he said, hey, man, come over sit down beside of me. So I went and sat down beside of him. He goes, you run bad last week. You had bad, you know, didn't do very good, did you? And I said, no. I said, we you know, struggled a little bit and then get our car worked out and everything. He said, man, said, if it hadn't been for that caution, you'd went lap down, wouldn't you? I said, like, I had to think about it for a second. I thought, caution lap down. Yeah, probably. I said, hell, we were just, I don't know which one it was, but we were bad, you know. He said, yeah, you know where I was watching the race at, don't you? I said, no. He said, in the middle of the backstretch, there's a little hole in the fence that those guys, they got people sitting all around there, you know, watching.
So at this point, are you suspicious that he knows?
No.
Okay.
No, he said, so you know where I watched the race at? I done forgot all about it, you know. And he said, I watched it on the center of the backstretch back there. I seen you come by, I seen you struggling a little bit, getting off the corner, you know, and then seen the leader coming, you know, then all of a sudden caution came out. You know, I said, yeah, man, it's a good thing. Saved me, wasn't it? Yep. He said, well, you know, I was watching from the back there, and he said, seen something. He said, you come off the corner, and I seen your hands flying in the air and all this stuff, you know, and something flying around the car. And I was like, so I kept an eye on it. I watched you go by, you know, what was that, you know? He said, you come by again. The next time you wasn't doing that, you know, and about the time after that, because I had to grab it and find it in the car and all this stuff, you know. He said, then, you remember anything coming out the window of your car, right side window? I said, no, I don't remember anything coming out the right side window. Now I'm thinking, holy shit, you know, he's seen it, you know.
Yeah,
so
you threw it out the right side window?
I threw it out the right side window.
You did one of these?
Yeah. Well, first time I threw it, it hit the roof and bounced around in the car and it come back at me. So, and then you're trying to race and trying to not lose any speed whatsoever and not go a lap down.
What was it though?
Well, here, let me tell you a story.
Oh, okay.
So he goes, well, I watched, you know, something flying around your car and stuff. And he said, and he goes like this, he said, does this look familiar? Like this, and hand me it was a piece of roll bar padding about that big that had silver duct tape all down it. It looked like a chunk of lead.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, it looks familiar. Yeah, it looks real familiar. And I thought, man, I'm.
Why'd you say that?
Hell, he watched it come out. You know, what do you mean, why'd I say that? You know, you can only go so far, man.
Next time he's going to pull out a video.
I was trying to deny. And, well, I'm not sure, playing dumb. And then when it come out, he's like, this look familiar? He done told me he watched it come out of my car, you know. I seen it come out of your car. Does this look familiar? And I'm like, yep, it looks familiar, you know. I thought, well, I got to take my ass beating here and go, it'd probably be suspended and everything else, you know. And he just started laughing. He said, I watched you come around. He said, I seen you throw it the first time. It bounced all inside the car and you're trying to catch it. Next time you're trying to grab it and can't find it. He watched every bit of it, you know. And I was like, yeah. But back then, that was pretty much every race thing for somebody. You know, you can just about count on it. When about time everybody's getting ready to go lap down or something, flying out somebody's window, you know.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon got his ass chewed out for that one time in New Hampshire.
Well, I
was in New Hampshire too, I think.
Oh, yeah. And there,
he threw roll bar padding out. Jeff Burton was pissed.
Yeah, well, roll bar padding's one thing, but when you take it and you put duct tape on it and make it look like silver, like a piece of lead. Because that last thing they want is a piece of lead flying around the race cars. That's probably the worst thing that can happen.
They took Robbie Gordon on live TV and showed him the replay and said, "What's this, Robbie?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I don't know. It looks like it came out of the car in front of me. I don't know."
Yeah.
And he got a big penalty for that.
I knew that Buster, he didn't, you know, he called me over there. He already knew. You know, he watched it come out of the car and he watched me throw it out and everything else. And I wasn't going to lie to him. You know, I was like, yeah. But he started laughing. He said, go on, get out of here, you know. But that's the way it was then. You know, there's a lot of stuff that went on. And I'm sure it still goes on today. But back then it was like just about everybody had a caution under their seat somewhere. You know what I mean? and I'm not just speaking for myself, but I know a lot of people would do that time to time. We didn't do it every week by no means. You know, done it probably a couple of times my whole career. But when you needed it and you had to have it, you just do what you got to do. And that's back when I was at the, I think the 12 car, I believe it was at 12 car, yeah. And we were liable, you know, we were doing everything we could do to go fast and, you know, make our cars faster and everything else. So it was a pretty good deal there. But
that's funny that the question, was it Elliot that asked it? It was about Brad, and Brad has had that bottle incident where he threw his water bottle out the window and got a caution and got everybody riled up a few years ago. Yeah,
it's all good until they see you do it. You know what I mean?
And there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, like everybody's wanting a caution, but if you're the leader and you're like, then you're pissed because you're trying to put everybody lap down, you know. But even that leader has done it too. I can bet you. You know, you'd be surprised how much goes on, or especially back then, and the whole race team. You know, I mean, just we pushed everything to the limits. Everything was just like, you know, and the driver had to run every single lap the same. You know, if your tires fell off 2/10, that's fine, but you better fall off gradually with those tires, or you're not going to be around long. You know.
Did you ever self-spin for a caution your whole career?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, not too many times, but I probably have.
I feel like it must have went on a lot, especially when, before they had lucky dogs and everything.
Right. I spun it at Darlington one time, but that was just from coming in pit roll too fast. But and then it threw out a caution, worked out all right for us. But I spun just coming down on the apron and spun, which helped us. But I wasn't trying to. It just happened that way. But that's the toughest thing about then was like, and it is today a little bit, but we used to have to run the pit road as fast as you can, get down pit road and get, not speed, leave, not speed, and everything else. And some of these places it's hard to do that with or back then anyway, just for sand on the track. And, like Darlington was bad about that. You knew when you went to Rockingham, it was going to be tough. Dover's tough, And, but nowadays it seems like they could pretty much know when their cautions are going to be. And, they'll have a wreck and have another one. But I mean, it's not like it, we had long green flag runs. And when you're talking about a 500-mile race, and run a long time, pit stop after pit stop before a caution comes out, And
you had, 5 lug nuts? Now they have 1?
Right. 5 lug nuts.
5 on, 5 off.
And some of those would be about half loose back then,
Yeah, that was a big deal.
They'd hit 2 and then wouldn't worry about the other 3, Mm-hmm. But I don't know. That's fun. That's part I miss about it really more than anything is all the – I had a blast. I had
we talk about that a lot. Yep. Just all the guy – like you – everybody was so close and everybody was having fun doing it. Like at least we were at a time that everybody really was having so much fun.
It looks so uptight now. I mean, when you see clips of the garage, it just
nobody looks happy.
Real uptight, like very like corporate, which there was obviously a corporate presence back when you were racing, but it's just so different now.
Yeah.
Oh, and just, I don't know. I look back, I would have done things a lot different now, the way I would have just looked at life in general, I looked at racing was just my whole world, and I just got so trapped in this little tunnel I was in and became almost miserable. Just.
Well, I guess we're not ending on a high note.
Right. We'll start over, but let me finish that. I really didn't know how to enjoy it. I enjoyed a lot of it. I had the best time of my life, but it could have been way better.
Yeah. You're very intense. Jeremy's very 100%, and if it, he's that's what gives him the drive he has is his intensity, but it can fall the other way too, So that was a hard balance.
Yeah.
Well, because you're just trying to survive, and then you're trying to keep your ride. You keep just one thing after another, just constant, just da 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 over you all the time.
That's why he was the most relaxed on Sundays in the race car, but it was everything in between that was hard.
Yeah.
And it's different too, like. I think we talk about that all the time. Like, we were never, like you were just saying, everybody's really stuffy. We were always kind of like, I wouldn't say the outcast, but like everybody was going to all these nice dinners and on their yachts and doing all this stuff. And we were like, we're going to the flea market or we're going here and doing, what I mean? And we just kind of, I'll never forget we went to the Waldorf. We lived when we went to New York for the banquet, and everybody was like on at Saks and doing all this stuff. And
had a absolute blast.
We had the best time, but we had our own driver. So each top 10, like you had your driver for the week, whatever.
And we're going the next morning to meet Donald Trump to ring the stock bell.
Yeah, we had to do so many cool things. And so.
Did you get a picture of that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've got it. So we were like, what are we going to do? And Jeremy's like, well, there's an RC place down in Brooklyn. He's like, let's go there. And I was like,
an RC car is pretty good,
I was like, okay.
For every hobby shop around everywhere.
So our driver took us to Brooklyn, and we're like in this podunk town, and the driver's just sitting out. And we ended up meeting these guys at the RC. We were sitting there eating pizza with them and like just having the best time.
A little hole in the wall in Brooklyn, New York. They had the best hobby shop there was. Man.
Yeah, we had pizza. We just went to Canal Street and got all the knockoff Louis Vuittons and like did all the, we just had so much fun. And then we would roll it. We started to bring all his RC stuff back to the hotel. So we had like RC car boxes stacked up on the thing to go in the hotel.
For your luggage cart, we were already checked in, but we did shop a lot that day,
Yeah. And everybody's coming in with their bags, and we've got like art and tires and all that. We had so much fun though.
And I went to Canal Street, and they had a couple of these stores down there that you could buy like just junk motors, electric motors. So I bought a whole bag just full of junk, just like
we did,
just wire ends and just electric motors and just anything. And I had all in a big bag, and it was stocked up. It really was almost embarrassing to carry it into the Waldorf store.
Man, your mom, Miss Mayfield, she still has boxes of RC cars like untouched, like pristine.
Right.
drag cars, sprint cars.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, for Brooklyn.
Yeah, they could have.
we need to get that over here.
I know.
Yeah.
Rip them out here.
Yeah, I've still got a bunch here, and I miss those days too. You know, like I used to race those things all the time, and I had my own track at our farm and all that stuff. You know, and miss that a lot. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll rebuild it out here.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, I got some of my cars out here, and every once in a while I fire one up, and I just feel like I'm like, man, I shouldn't be working on this. I got other things I need to do right now. You know.
Yeah, and I'm
What
texting.
I'm
I'm like,
saying.
"What are you doing?
Yeah.
Working? Why? Like,
Yeah.
no, you're not."
Right. So, but anyway, what's our next question?
I think that was the last one.
Oh, it is.
That's it.
Yep,
Okay.
that's it. Till next time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, thank
till
everybody
next
for
time.
watching, and
And keep submitting the questions.
right, and hit that subscribe button. I gotta
Yeah.
say it right. Yep.
That's what Stapleton told us to
Yeah.
say. He said, hit the subscribe button, and it's free.
Right, and we'll continue on making it better and better for everybody, and we're getting better ourselves. And we had a great day today, and with Mitchell and Shayna, our other guest here, and we got a great guest coming up tomorrow. A couple of them, yeah, that'll be on a couple episodes from now. So got some good. We might as well say who's coming on.
Oh, you can say it.
Yeah, we got Daryl Andrews will be on tomorrow. DA's a great guy. He's got a bunch of stories that everybody want to hear about racing, and back in the Junior Johnson days, and just all the way up till now. I mean, DA's just such a great guy, and
Trevor, make sure you ask him for some
Yeah.
Jeremy stories if I'm
Oh,
not
I
here.
will.
Yeah.
They're so good.
oh
I
yeah,
will.
yeah, and but anyway, DA will be on here. Then we got Chrissy Wallace is coming on, and then he doesn't know it yet, but Todd Parrott's going to be on here too. We're going to
Okay.
get him on here, so he doesn't know right yet,
There you
but he
go.
will. So he's going
What
with
about
he's
that other guy that used to be your crew chief that we were talking about earlier?
Tony Furr.
Yeah, we need to get him
Yeah.
on here too.
Oh yeah, Tony's got a bunch of good stories. He's a cool dude, and
There you go.
there's just a lot of it,
There's
and,
a lot
and
of
that's
them.
what we want to make the show about is some of the crew chief guys that they're not around anymore, but they're around. You know what I mean? And hear their stories, and I mean, there's a lot of great people in the sport that need to be heard.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a couple of those crew chiefs in here to talk to each other.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
That would be good.
Yep. Yep. Well, a couple of them would be. If you get the wrong ones, it
That's
wouldn't be.
scary said too. Yeah, there's a few.
And
You don't want-
another guy I'd like to get on here is Tim Brewer.
Yeah.
Tim was an awesome guy, and just to hear his stories. And DA will talk about him tomorrow too, so you'll be able to hear that. But
I'm excited.
yeah, Brewer's he's a cool dude. I need to talk to him too and call him, see if he'll get on here.
He'll get on here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All
Thank
right.
you, everybody.
All right, thank you.